I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
You just killed a little fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
You're happy because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're happy because you got nothing. Lobito! Got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to another BD Boxing podcast broadcasting to you live from the true north. This is Frames to BDA, and alongside with me, as always, my co host, the one, the only King Bucho. King, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Now, guys, you know the drill. Before we continue, let's get the business out of the way. If you want to keep the gravy train rolling, we ask that you please hit the like button, subscribe, spread the BDA gospel. Now is the time where people need it the most. They need guidance, they need counseling when it comes to boxing. And we are here, the community, the BDA boxing community, we're here to help you and guide you through your boxing needs. Sexual too, for the right price. Also, if you get a couple of shekels in your bag that you can send our way, you can certainly do so via the PayPal page or the Patreon page as well, the BDA Patreon page. So go check that out. And that's about it, guys. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. I see we got Stu on the line already. Stu, are you there?
Yeah, what's happening, boys?
Oh, Stu, I haven't talked to you since this whole fucking lockdown thing.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
man, it's fucked up, innit?
Yeah, well, listen, it's hopefully...
It's starting to feel like Elvis Presley that 2 weeks before he died. But
Hey, by the way, I just heard, did you...
rotting in his house.
I just heard, I didn't know about this. Elvis Presley used to, when he, what was the name of his wife, the last one, the one that was in the Lethal Weapon?
Priscilla, was it Priscilla?
Priscilla, yes. Didn't he, I think he was going out with her when she was 15.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Who's the one, who's the one that married that 13-year-old? That fucking, what's his name? Was it not Buddy Holly? Not him. Was it no? Oh, one of them. Anyway, he used to play the piano. I can't remember what his fucking
Great
name. He
Balls of
married a
Fire guy, or
13-year-old, didn't he? Because I remember when he brought her over to the UK, he got a lot of stick in it because everyone thought it was his daughter instead of his fucking wife. So,
are you talking about Gary Glitter? Or because that sounds
no,
like
he sound. Just fucking. I can't remember what his name is now. There's a
people in the
film
chat
about
room.
him.
People in the chat room are saying it's Jerry Lee Lewis.
Jerry Lee Lewis, that's the one. The boys, I knew the boys in the chat would know. Got some smart guys around.
Yeah, he was.
I forgot his name, but yeah.
Was he the great?
Because I remember him coming to the UK and everyone was like, "Oh, is that your daughter?" And it's like, "No, it's my wife." And I was like, "What the fuck?"
Jeez,
the girl, I mean, she looked like a 13-year-old as well. It's not like one of them mature 13. This is a young. It don't matter and how they look anyway. 13 is fucking kid.
Wow.
It's disgraceful. But that was the 60s. I mean, they turned a blind eye to it. Them sort of times. I mean, it's madness, really. But yeah.
Yeah, now
I don't know how we got to this topic, but fucking hell.
You know, nowadays you expose yourself to somebody or you jerk off in a plant in a pot plant like Harvey Weinstein. All of a sudden they throw you in jail and they give you the coronavirus. I mean, that's the stage we're at here in our world. But listen,
Yeah, ask George Michael.
all right, listen. By the way, am I coming through okay, or is my sound too low?
Yep.
Butch, yeah, all right.
No, it's fine.
Fantastic. I see all right, listen, give a shout out to Timmy Nealon in the chat room, Ralph Unreal, Carlos Mendoza, Tone, James Doherty, Celtic Warrior, and many more. To Johnny Boys in the chat room as well. Shout out to Johnny Boys. So thank you for joining us, guys. Little boxing entertainment to take you through the day here. All right, listen, as we got Recognize on the line as well. Recognize, are you there?
I'm right here. I'm right
there. Ready to rock and roll, huh?
Always.
All right, listen, now that I got you guys here and we got Stu also, who's a Brit, I wanted to get your opinion on this article.
He's a Brit.
Yeah, he is. I mean, what do you want from me? I saw this article on Boxing Scene a couple of days ago. Now, I want you to tell me what you think of this. I'm going to share it with you. Hold on a second. Turn on. By the way, we're going to be taking phone calls later on. So we're going to be talking about heavyweights from the 90s. We're going to be talking about the all-time greatest featherweights from the 2000s. We're talking Barrera, Pacquiao, Marquez, and all that. And a whole bunch of things. Julio Chavez, because we didn't we didn't wrap up the conversation we had on the last episode. So, all right. So this is the article I wanted to show you guys. Carl Froch is back at it again. This guy from saying he believes that the earth is flat, that the Holocaust didn't happen. Now he's saying that he didn't say that last one, by the way, I made it up. But now he's saying, and this is not made up, that he is confident that he would have beat up Gennady Golovkin. Guys, thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I'm confident too that I could have beaten some of the greats in the past, but never happened, never will happen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it would have been a tough fight. No, that fight would have been at 168.
Yeah,
I don't know who would have won. To be honest with you,
No.
I think Golovkin would have won, but I'm not
Yeah.
sure about that. You know?
Yeah, but he's saying
tough.
Well,
The
there's
way
no way
he's
he
saying
beat
it, though.
what did he say again? He
well,
would
that's
have-
what I'm
Let's be real. I mean,
Yeah.
Carl Froch is no easy fight for anyone. Big, like I said, big, strong. He likes to tell us that as well, doesn't he? That he's big and strong, but it's the facts. I mean, he's got very good chin as well. It's going to take some knocking out. He's a bigger guy than Golovkin. He's got a good jab, good straight right hand. I mean, yeah, I mean, it could be a problem for Golovkin. It's a massive problem for him, especially this Golovkin that's we've got at the moment. I mean, but yeah, it's just a fantasy fight, and it's not going to happen. So there's no point talking about it, you know. But let's be real. If it did happen, then fucking hell, we're talking about a massive fight. It would have been a massive fight. It would have been a tremendous fight because you've got two guys in there that come to win with big punching power, but also tremendous chins. So no one's getting knocked out early in that one. It's going to be a 12-round war because you know I believe Froch. I think it's too tough for Golovkin to stop him. To be honest with you. I do. I just don't see Golovkin stopping Froch.
my contention
the other way
here
around
is-
as well. I don't see Froch stopping Golovkin. It's just a very. It's going to be on the cards, really, isn't it? That one, and it's going to be.
I think either guy
hard one to
could have,
call.
but it would have taken a lot of work from either guy. You know.
Yeah,
They
I just don't.
would've-
Like I
they
said, I
would've
just don't. I mean, you can drop Froch. Don't get me wrong. Golovkin could drop Froch because if Groves can, but Groves is a big puncher as well. Groves is he hits very hard. Golovkin's a big puncher, but I just don't think he's. when he's hitting middleweights at the end of the day. I mean, going up to 168 and knocking them guys over is a different kettle of fish altogether. I mean, you've only got to see the problems he had with Danny Jacobs when Danny Jacobs come in big. He came in
Exactly,
massive,
that's
and he had problems that night. So,
well, you know what?
Yeah,
though? I take issue with the fact that he said he would have beaten up Golovkin. I agree with everything you say, but it
no.
I'm
not having that. I'm not having his beat up Golovkin. It would have been a very, very close fight. But,
well, here's what he had to say.
You know what Froch is like. I mean, I don't even know why we're having this convo about Froch, because you know Froch. I mean, I don't believe Froch even believes himself half the stuff he says. I mean, he's fucking.
Let me tell you what he said.
Well, then they call him Carl the Contradiction Froch. That's what they call him in the UK.
I thought they called him. I thought they called him Scarecrow Nose. No, I mean Crow Nose or something like that, right? Because he's got the.
Oh, he's had a nose job, isn't he? He had a nose job. Sky paying him well. And like I said, Froch is such a tight motherfucker. Like every time he got a purse from one of them big fights, he just invested it into properties. He owns half of Nottingham. I mean, he's a multi-millionaire without even putting a pair of gloves on. That's why he's not come back. That's why he's not got that hunger. He's got a good little earner with Sky, and he's making a fortune out of properties in Nottingham. And the
Froch that beat Lucien Boutte, that Froch that gave Andre Ward, problems, and some of the bigger victories he's had. Yeah, he's a problem for anybody who's ever come up to super middleweight. I think he's in the history of that weight class, he would have been a huge problem. The thing is, you can't look at the Andre Ward Froch fight and then compare it to Golovkin sort of thing. It's just different sort of style. And with Andre Ward, he's a bit of a spoiler, isn't he? And he's very fast, and it's just a different style altogether to Golovkin. Golovkin's style would suit Froch a lot easier. He's not as slick, is he? And he's a lot easier to hit. Froch held his own, right? Like he lost that fight.
Yeah, but the thing is, like I said, Froch was nowhere near at his best as well. I believe the fight, he'd been hanging around. It got postponed from Ward. He was hanging around in the UK, in the US, far too long. I think he got a bit homesick. His missus was giving birth, sort of thing, and he didn't see the birth of his kids. So I think it was like one of them ones where his mindset was probably gone a little bit. And yeah, I had Ward winning that clearly, but Ward's a spoiler, and he's sport that fight like he does in most fights. That's how he wins. But
Triple G,
I don't think we can look at that fight. Say again.
Triple G knocks him out in 4 rounds.
Yeah, I did. I don't expect anything else from Johnny. I mean, Johnny hates bits, so
I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah, I know you are, bro. But no, like I said, the thing is, no one's knocking Froch out. You know what I mean? Froch has been hit with some fucking monster shots. Let's be real, because he's been hit by the hardest. I mean, this is a guy. Boutte was knocking everyone out, and when he hit Froch, Froch ate it up like Pac-Man. I mean, to hurt Froch, you've got to catch him square on like Groves did, walking onto one with his fucking chin in the air. Then you can. But if Froch has got his game on, like he did in the second fight against Groves, when he gets behind the guard and gets behind the jab, it's quite hard to hit. It's only when he gets reckless sometimes when you can catch him, counter him. But I think when he keeps in shape, gets behind the jab.
In my 20-odd years of watching boxing, that first Groves Froch fight might have been one of the worst fucking stoppages I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that's Howard Foster for you, bro. Howard Foster, man. But the thing is, Groves did get hurt. I mean, but we never know if he could have continued.
He was stunned. He was stunned, but he was winning that fight. They should have gave him some time,
Yeah, I agree with that. Like I said, the second one, I think Froch, because he took the second one a lot more serious, and like I said, he was just slopping the first one, getting reckless, thinking all he had to do was land and that'd be it. And Groves was, that's probably the best performance I've seen from George Groves, and unfortunately he lost. But you can't fight like that. Froch he underestimated, had no respect for Groves, underestimated him, and he nearly cost him on the night. But in the second one, when he took Groves serious, he got behind he got in shape, got behind the guard, and kept things. He kept to a good game plan, and we saw the shot that he landed on Groves. I mean, one of the best shots you'll ever likely to see. So, Froch is a dangerous guy for anyone. Like I said, anyone, and that includes Golovkin.
By the way, this photograph of Carl Froch that I'm showing here on the screen, that's a photograph when he said that he'd knock out Golovkin in 5 rounds. He was saying, "Yeah, I'd knock him out in 5 rounds. Hey, you give me Andre Ward on the same night, I'd knock him out in 5 rounds too." And the Muhammad Ali too. You put him in there, maybe 2 rounds max. All right, trust me.
Carl Froch has got one of them faces that he always looks like he's got to take his shit, bro.
Come on, listen. Yeah.
He does.
Johnny boy. No,
He's got
yeah, I
that
know, but Johnny,
droopy fucking-
you're not gonna turn this fine show
Hey,
into the.
Carlos Mendoza in the chat saying, "Oh, he lost to Kessler, like that's losing to Darnell Boone or something." I mean, do you know how good Mikael Kessler was? This is what I mean about you, for you guys. You don't really you just hear the names, but you don't really know how good they are. So, but what? Because Kessler lost a Ward in a horrible fight. He's a bum all of a sudden. Mikael Kessler was probably Joe Calzaghe's toughest fight. And Joe Calzaghe fought them all. So Kessler at his best was an absolute monster. And even that day when he lost to Kessler, it was very close. I mean, let's be real, weren't a fucking beaten or anything. Look, you're going to lose fights when you fight the best. Carl Froch fought the best, travelled all the way, true champion, a road warrior, travelled everywhere to fight. Not hiding in fucking Oakland like Andre Ward. No, he weren't doing that. He was travelling the world. He went to Denmark to fight Kessler. He fought Abraham in Finland. He went to America to fight Jermaine Taylor in his home backyard. That's a true champion. So no matter what you say about Froch, you can't take that away from him.
Well, it's interesting because Kessler, he beat a guy from Quebec here called Eric Lucas, who for a while was holding the IBF super middleweight title. Lucas also was that? Oh, the WBC. Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. He also he lost to Fabricioso. He lost to Danny Green. He lost to Librado Andrade, but he also fought Roy Jones in that infamous fight where Jones played basketball before the actual fight. And he said, Lucas said that Kessler, out of all those guys that beat him, Kessler was second best next to Roy Jones Jr. So that gives you an idea of how good Kessler was and how good. Because Froch, here's the thing, like Stu was saying, Froch wasn't a technician. I mean, you would never show him to a beginner and say, this is how you box. But he had everything that Stu talked about: toughness, stamina, great chin. He knew how to work his style. He would punch from all angles, erratic angles, and and he was a decent
very
puncher.
Good jab as well. Very
That's
underestimated jab that kept people off him. And obviously, with that jab, he used to come follow through with the right hand, and it was a lovely, the two straight punches that were his best punches. Let's be real. I mean, when he kept in shape, and because sometimes he's a bit like Wilder, get all sloppy and get fucking square on, and his feet would be all over the place. Very like Wilder when he gets wild. So when he keeps in shape, he's just a lot better fighter, and that's what he did in the. I mean, look how he boxed Arthur Abraham. We say we like about Arthur Abraham. No one's outboxed him like that. I mean, it was destruction. So he's got that in him, Froch. He's not just a brawler, and that's why I think you can't underestimate him, because you think you're going in there with a brawler that's going to walk onto shots all night, but he's a bit more than that. He's quite difficult to hit when he's on his game.
But here's
never
the problem.
compare Froch to God. Okay, don't ever do that stuff.
No.
Hey, listen. Here's the problem, though. Here's the problem. When Froch says, "You can say either of us are you can say either of us are a clear winner. I think I beat him by stoppage. I'd be hitting him that much, that hard." A little bit like the Lucian Bute fight, backing him up to the ropes, back him up, smash him to bits. You know how I roll. What is he, from California? How I roll? And then he says,
I think he's looking at the Derevchenko fight. He's looking at the Derevchenko fight.
Exactly.
And the Golovkin kind of had like a little, like a tough fight with Derevchenko. So he's like, oh, well, if he fights me like that,
Yeah, of course. If he fights like the Golovkin that looks like he's on the, he's reached his pinnacle. Now he's going a little downhill. Froch in his prime, with Golovkin going up, probably wins that fight. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about the guy that went on a winning streak, on a knock, like what was it, 19 straight knockouts. I want to know if you could beat that. I want to see
20,
if you could beat 20 knockouts.
Yeah,
I want to see if you can knock out that guy. If you can knock out that guy, that's saying something.
Somebody's shit's echoing, and it ain't me.
All right. It's probably going to go away.
But, you say what?
No, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, yeah, no, it's both prime for prime. So you take like fucking Triple G from 2012 versus like Froch from, I don't know what, 07, 08, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right?
I would say anywhere from 2013 to 2015, that Golovkin versus Froch's prime is very prime. You got a great ass fight right there.
Yeah. What was Froch's prime? Like 06, 07? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. 06, 07.
And I think Froch.
Oh, one
Yeah,
second.
Frotch sorry.
1 second. So I was just gonna say, so yeah, like 06, 07 Frotch versus like 2012, 2013 Golovkin. That's how you got to look at it.
Right. Now, for me, Frotch was at his best for me when he fought Lucien Boutte.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. That was
that was the best performance from Frotch for me. I mean, the Kesslers were good performances. Abraham was a very good performance. But Abraham was so poor on the night. He just didn't win a round. So it was just an easy night to work for Frotch. But for me, best performance, because now, let's be real, Boutte was the man. Everyone was talking about Boutte. Everyone was saying he was the number one guy. And I can remember all the British commentators, Frotch is in trouble here. I thought Frotch is going to walk through Boutte. I saw what Andrade did to him.
Mm-hmm.
We had on the show. So I knew Frotch was going to walk through this guy like a fucking doorway. And that's exactly what he did. But he was perfect that night. His career was on the line, and it was his best night for me. So that Frotch there against the Golovkin, that I would say was when he beat Proska and all them guys around that time. I thought Golovkin looked at his best. I don't know. What about you guys?
Absolutely, man. That
more or less the same. Yeah, that's who I think. That's who I would compare him to.
Yeah, 2013, late 2012 to 2016, Golovkin was a machine. Even the 2017 version, but it's just that he fought his best two opponents at the time, Canelo and Jacobs, and it turned out that he went the distance with them. But that 2017 Golovkin was, people say, wow, Canelo fought him when he was past his prime. Maybe a little bit past his peak, but he certainly wasn't past his prime. By the way, thank you to Chris K, who just donated with the super chat. And he says, Dana still thinks UFC 249 is happening, LOL. Well, listen, stranger things have happened. You never know. Maybe after a week and a half, they decide, hey, look, everything's okay now. We worked very hard and everything's okay. Let's get back to business.
When is that fight?
I don't know. Late April, maybe? Middle of April? I forget.
All right.
Anyway, you never know. But listen,
is that?
Was that?
What fight was that?
He's talking about UFC 249, which I assume is the Khabib versus Ferguson fight.
Yeah,
but
I've been hearing about that fight. I heard this dude is a huge threat for Khabib. So, you guys know I don't follow the MMA. So, I don't know.
I'm struggling to hear. Recognize. You're really low, bro. Can you turn your volume up?
Well, Bucho, turn it up.
How about now, guys? Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. Bucho, maybe you should, because you're hosting the Discord, maybe you should boost the volume up for everybody.
Yeah, boost the volume up on Recognize, please.
Yeah, what am I? On the pay no mind list, Bucho?
Hey, by the way, did Carl Frotch ever mention how many people he's fought in front of? The most people? Because I don't remember that, man.
Before I knocked out George Groves at Wembley Stadium in front of 80,000 fans.
You know what? Maybe he did.
I remember when he brought that one up in front of Floyd, didn't it? Trying to get one on Floyd.
That's the clip. Yeah, that's the clip.
Before I knocked out George Groves at Wembley Stadium in front of 80,000 fans.
That's cringe, man. That's cringe.
It's cringe as fuck. It's cringe as fuck, Frotch.
He is. Huh?
You know, he's the sort of guy when he's banging his wife, he's looking at himself in the mirror doing it. He's one of them guys, isn't he?
Like Christian Bale in American Psycho. Like Christian Bale in American Psycho, he's flexing in front of the mirror.
Yeah. Looking
at
inside the mirror, going, top man there, top man.
Top man.
He looks like the type of guy that his wife's ass bounces a little bit off of him, and he's like, "Yeah, you're fucking the best man you would ever fuck in your life."
80,000. He's that fucking vain. He has to do 80,000 pumps with his missus, doesn't he?
Oh, come on. But you know what though? It's I think my volume's going down again. Shit. All right, you guys talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back.
What's we still on Frotch and Triple G?
Yeah.
I just stepped out for a sec. Yeah.
Somebody answer him, please. My microphone is going down here.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, it's like, yeah. I mean, I think we said, look, they didn't fight. It's not gonna ever happen, right? So I don't really care.
It's a nice little middleweight, whatever you want to call it, 168 fantasy matchup. You know,
it's like me, moving to one state to another and saying, when I was in New York, there was this guy that wanted, he was willing to fight me, and I didn't fight him. Now that I moved to another state, I'm like, yeah, I would have beat him. Come on, man. It's like, okay, you didn't fight him when he wanted to,
Yeah, like We still.
I'm talking shit from Florida. I'm talking shit from Florida. Talking about I would fuck
yeah. I still be my homeboys still be arguing over who would have won between me and Rodney, my Mexican boy from Detroit, because we never put everybody else put the gloves on, but me and him never boxed and shit before. And he had hands and I had hands, and we never. He still be arguing like, man, I want a Huda.
Right? Can you imagine? Can you imagine if like when you let's say you moved or whatever, and Rodney, when he had the chance, could have fought you, and then Rodney just starts saying, "You know, Johnny boy, I would have whipped his ass, bro."
Yeah, right.
Like, okay, it's pointless to say that, bro. We were here at the same time. We could have.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And all right, so if we move on from Carl Frosch, then interesting here. The Ring Magazine does a segment where they ask certain fighters, especially if they're retired, who the best was in different categories, and they came out with the Julio Cesar Chavez version about 2 weeks ago. This is very interesting, man. Man, by the way, it was refreshing to hear him pick, because usually, I'll tell you this, usually certain fighters, when they ask him who had the best, let's say the best jab, like Trinidad, I think they asked Trinidad and they asked him like who was the best overall, and he went like, oh, Camacho, or I think he said Camacho, De La Hoya, or Whitaker, guys he beat. And I'm thinking, come on, the complete package would have been the guy who beat you up on the outside and on the inside. That would have been Bernard Hopkins. But a lot of these guys, it seems like they just pick who they beat as this guy had the best jab, but I beat him. This guy had the best endurance, but I beat him. But Chavez was a little bit surprisingly, because people say he's very arrogant in person. And yet here, some of his answers were refreshing. So let's take a look at what he said. He said, best skills, Meldrick Taylor. He says he had every skill you need as a fighter. His speed, quickness, power, all you could ask for. Now, again, some people are going to say, oh, come on, Whitaker had the best skill sets. But I have to agree when he says skills, Taylor, because not only was he a very skilled fighter.
He's talking about the total package deal.
Exactly.
And Meldrick Taylor was better. That doesn't mean, people get confused. Better skills doesn't mean you're a better fighter.
Mm-hmm.
It can help you out, but you got to have mental toughness. You got to have ring IQ. You got to have all that stuff. One guy could do things, like let's say he could do multiple things better than you. Well, that's not going to guarantee him a victory. You could probably blow him out on just mental toughness alone.
Well, and one thing Meldrick had over Sweet Pea. I'm not saying Meldrick would have beat him or any of that shit, but one thing Meldrick did have over Sweet Pea though is he had the grit. He had the more grit than Sweet Pea did. Like he could outbox motherfuckers, but he would get in there and scrap. You know what I'm saying? He would get in there and scrap.
He had more bite down. He had
more dog in him.
He's a lot. For me, he's a lot easier on the eye for excitement than Sweet Pea.
Right.
I mean, Sweet
Right. Exactly.
It's what you like. I mean, the purists would like. They love Sweet Pea. You got to respect. But like I said, Sweet Pea also got hit. People, they talk about his defense, but we've mentioned on the show before. The guy you could hit Sweet Pea. He wasn't impossible to hit, like a Prime Jones was, say, someone like that, or Prime Hamed. I know he was giving Hamed a bit of stick, but in his day, in his prime, the man was really hard to hit. It's only when he slowed down and started getting arrogant and not cutting corners in camp, he started to lose that yard, and that's when people catching up to him. But them sort of, I mean, it's just what you like, and Sweet Pea's very good, but I prefer Meldrick Taylor's style, to be honest. Meldrick Taylor was seconds away from beating Chavez. So
because you know what, this is gonna sound crazy. I had Whitaker beating Chavez, like most people, but I don't think it was the school. So but it wasn't the schooling. Like the first 6 rounds were pretty close.
It wasn't. Yeah,
the first 6 rounds were pretty close. It wasn't a Barrera Hamed type beat.
I think I had Taylor like 2 points, 3 points out. I've done a similar like that. It's a long time since I've seen it.
I think he's talking about Sweet Pea and Chavez.
Chavez, exactly. Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you was on about. Meldrick Taylor fight. Sorry.
No, I'm talking
about how Chavez. Everybody thought like he fucking lost basically 10 rounds. I'm like, dude, he didn't lose that many rounds. He lost like maybe 7 to 8, somewhere around 7 to 8 rounds. He lost. In my opinion, he lost.
Which is clear. But he didn't spank him. I actually thought Frankie Randall put more of a physical beating on Chavez, and a more
most definitely did.
Because he dropped him.
Do you think Do you think? I know obviously De La Hoya did a right number on Chavez, but do you think Prime Chavez be Prime De La Hoya? How would you have that one going, boys?
Yeah, Prime Chavez would have outlasted him. I don't think he would have blew him out, but he would have outlasted him.
At
I
what
don't know,
weight,
though.
though? At what weight, though?
140. 140,
140?
Johnny boy.
140.
Yeah.
140. Ooh. Oh, I was gonna say
Chavez, yeah.
if it. I was just gonna say if it was at 30 or 35, I'd pick Chavez. If it was 140 or 47, I mean Chavez didn't hardly fight.
Yeah, to me, right, I'm going to fucking
That's a good way
surprise
to put
you.
it, yeah.
I'm going for De La Hoya. I mean, just styles make fights. Sometimes it wasn't even about the prime, or yes, Chavez was well past it, but it was a bit more than that. De La Hoya, around that time, was a fucking monster. He was a fucking pound for pound number one in the world for me around that time. I just loved watching De La Hoya fight, and I just think style-wise, I think it's just a stylistic nightmare for Chavez, and I think he beat Chavez in any era. That's the way I see it. I mean, I might be wrong, but I just think, like I said, every fighter has got a style out there that they just can't cope with.
Stu,
And,
you took the words right out of my mouth, man. I completely agree with you. De La Hoya, styles make fights, man. He had better hand speed than Chavez, better punching power, I would say, in terms of explosiveness, and combined with the hand speed. And he was just too tall for Chavez. I mean, even
he might have been too big for him. Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, I like honestly. I don't want to renege. I'm a Chavez fan, so everybody knows that. Like I'm a huge. I think that if he did beat Chavez Senior in his prime, it would have been because of size. I'm not saying that De La Hoya doesn't have skills. He did, but I think it would have been because of his height, reach, the total package.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's
that De La Hoya was a very, very tough man to beat.
Here's the thing, man. De La Hoya and Chavez, the second fight was closer. That was because De La Hoya, back then, he had something to prove, and he slugged it out with him. Because Chavez kept saying, like, oh, you can't beat me, you're not Mexican.
Like I said, this is the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, thank you, Stu. I was just gonna say, yeah, he was that he kept hearing it in his ear, Oscar. That's when I was just a little kid too, but he kept hearing it in his ear. Like, remember my pops wanted Chavez to beat his fucking ass. He's like, I can't stand this pretty boy. I can't stand this pretty boy over here.
That's one thing about De La Hoya, right? De La Hoya took shots. No, but the thing was, De La Hoya, he took shots from the best of them, and he always looked a pretty boy. And it looked like he never took a shot in his life, and that tells you a good fighter. Same with Floyd. You look at Floyd, looks like he's never took a shot in his life, and I mean, when he started to get in the bigger weights and slow down,
De La Hoya could have been better, man.
He relied on athleticism and speed, De La Hoya, and when he started to lose it, then that's when he started to lose fights.
If Oscar would have just settled off at like 47, he would have been crushing people.
Let me tell you something. Oscar De La Hoya, and I'll say this to this day, did not take his career I'm talking about in the ring as serious as he should have. At one point, Oscar De La Hoya had the kind of skills, and I know people don't like hearing this because he's like, he's kind of like a pretty boy. He's into himself and all that shit. But boxing wise, he was one of the most skilled fighters I've ever seen. The combination of explosive punching power with speed. I mean, just that alone could make you one of the greatest fighters ever. He really should have been better than what
in his prime. In his prime, recognised for me. Like I said, I think I had him pound for pound number one. I did. I think around that time when he was in his prime. Like I said, I'm going back a while now, so I might be wrong. But I had him in the top three without a shadow of a doubt. The guy was a monster, and like I said, got Olympic gold medal as well around his waist. You know,
he beat.
And one thing about De La Hoya, right? Everyone said he was a pretty boy, and I used to knock him for the way he dressed and stuff, but the guy was tough as boots, man. Tough as old boots. He had a fucking tremendous chin on him, and he slugged it with the best of them. So you just very, very, very good.
Dude,
fight,
he beat Pernell Whitaker.
It's a shame that he sort of started to lose all the big fights he was in. It got to a stage where every big fight he was in, he lost.
He was falling off. And think about it, like at that time, De La Hoya was falling off. And how do you know De La Hoya was doing that? Because look at his body shape in a lot of those fights. The only loss that I've seen him take, and that's barely a loss in my opinion. The only loss I've seen him take when he was in great shape was Sugar Shane Mosley.
Yeah.
Okay, in the first fight.
Yeah.
But look at him, and I think you know why I think that happened? Because he was behind the 8 ball in terms of like taking your shit seriously. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He tried to turn it on and off whenever he wanted to. I always say, man, if he would have stayed consistent. And think about some of the names he's fought and beat. If he, there's a good chance, man. This guy, if he would have just stayed hungry from the beginning, he would have been. His resume would have been crazy.
Let me put it like this. Let me put it like this for Oscar. Because you look at his resume, it's fucking stellar, bro. Now here, let me put it to you like this, bro. He fought the best guys that were getting older of the previous generation. Chavez, Camacho, Sweet Pea. Then he fought all, or damn near all, of the guys in his own generation. Mosley, Fernando, Tito, he fought them guys. And then he even fought a couple of guys from the next generation after him in Pacquiao and Floyd, bro. So he fought a lot of fucking people, bro.
He did. And let's be real, I think I had him beaten Floyd as well.
Yeah.
A lot of people thought that fight was so close that they gave it to De La Hoya.
Yeah, I thought the problem with De La Hoya was hitting a lot of arms, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
He was hitting a lot of Floyd's arms, and nothing was landing really
was
clean.
in great shape for that fight. Like I dare somebody say, De La Hoya was. No, he wasn't. He was half-assing it, man.
That's what would kill me when this whole Floyd Pacquiao shit would come up. I'm like, bro. So you're telling me the Floyd that your boy fought 6 months before was in his prime, but the one 6 months later that Pacquiao fought ain't in his prime? Get the fuck out of here, bro. He wasn't in his prime for neither one of them.
Yeah. You know what? The thing about that,
he wasn't.
Del Boy in the chat says Prime Oscar beats Floyd and Pac Manny at 147.
I agree. At 147, yes, he beat both those guys.
The thing about De La Hoya, I recognize.
For a welterweight.
Go ahead, Butch.
I was just saying he was pretty tall for a welterweight.
Well, that's okay. When you talk about like attributes and stuff like that wins you a fight. What I'm saying is, I take everything into consideration. De La Hoya has some gifts that he was 5'10", 5'11", somewhere around that height, and he had long arm reach and he had amazing speed and power, right? So that's something that made him great. He would have fought those guys in his prime. He would have fought De La Hoya. He would have fought Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao at 147. Now, I'm not saying he kills them. What I'm saying is his size, his physical ability would have won him those fights because they would have got hit by him and said, this dude hits like a monster and he got speed, and it would have made them fight different,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in Pacquiao's case, it would have made him a little too aggressive and then get caught with some shit and get knocked out, right? But with Floyd Mayweather, it would have made him fight on the back foot, which he would have been on the losing end because of De La Hoya's long arm reach, and he would have still been catching him, and he would have been too defensive to win on points.
Yeah, I agree.
Speed. That speed was crazy, man. People need to.
I'll tell you a fantasy fight that I'll tell you what. If you're going to pick, say, a top 5 fantasy fights of all time, this one has got to be it. Chavez v. Duran.
Chavez.
Yeah.
Chavez Senior versus Roberto Duran.
Yeah, that would have been.
Yeah.
Oof.
That's a great fight.
Madonna me. That's a great fight.
I mean, that would be. I think I've got Duran winning that one.
Yeah, I think Duran
I don't want to be a Chavez hater here, but I think Roberto Duran is best. I said just walks for anyone.
You know what? Why?
Think
Because he's slightly faster than Chavez and slightly more skilled from the outside, inside.
Yeah. But Chavez, like I said, Chavez this is a fucking legend of the ring. We're talking. Chavez on his day could beat anyone himself, so it's a tough one, man. I wouldn't want to put my house on it. But let's go through the panel. I want to see how the panel, and we'll go through the chat, see what they think. But we'll start with you, Johnny. Chavez Senior versus Roberto Duran. Pick a winner.
Well, let's establish this real quickly. So it would be at 135.
Yeah, Prime. Just make it easy. When we pick these fights, you got to be Prime.
I'm saying so because Duran didn't fight no lower than that. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, no, you obviously, I understand what you're trying to say.
Okay, a prime 1970s. Early, mid 70s Duran, the one that fought the Jesus and Buchanan.
Yeah, you can pick any Duran you want.
Well, no, I was saying that Duran, the 70s Duran. I got him fucking Chavez up, bro. It would be a good fight, but Duran would have been too fast for him. I think he's got too much. He's too skilled. He's just as much of a dog if not more of a dog than Chavez, bro. He's just
Yeah. Well, what about you? Recognize the mate?
And everybody knows I love Chavez Senior. He was my favorite
Junior.
fighter. Not Junior. He's a disappointment. I wanted to like him, but you know, it is what it is.
Right.
I did too.
Yeah. So look, as much as I love Chavez Senior, I think that at 135, the prime Duran would have edged him out. It would have been one of those crazy fights that probably would have hurt both their careers going forward. But I think that I think the edge goes to Duran.
All right. What about you then, BDA?
I have to go with Duran. He edges it out. I think he was just a little bit more skilled on the inside, better hand speed, more fluid combinations. Chavez liked to pick his spots. Now, don't get me wrong. When he wanted to turn it on, he could turn it on. But I just think he would always be one step behind Duran. Nevertheless, like Recognize said, I don't think both guys would be the same afterwards. I mean, I think it would be one of those battles that would take a little bit out of them afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, Bay Area says that Duran struggled with Kevin Buchanan. This is the ignorance of Bay Area. Ken Buchanan was one of the greatest British fighters of all time.
Exactly. Yeah.
The guy was a tremendous fighter, and you're talking about him like some chump because you don't really know about Ken Buchanan. You've looked in BoxRec. You've looked on BoxRec, seen a name, seen he's a Brit, but yeah, he's a bum. That's the ignorance of Bay Area. Ken Buchanan was a tremendous fighter, and like I said, anyone will struggle with Ken Buchanan on their day. So that doesn't mean anything to me. When you fight the best, you're gonna have struggles. Not everything's an easy ride like Deontay Wilder's had it, like fucking Charlo's have had it. Not everything's like that. He's tight tank.
Nothing against Buchanan either, but Duran pretty much slapped the shit out of him anyway. So I don't know what.
Yeah, he did.
Hold on. Buchanan won a couple of rounds, but I mean, for the most part, Duran. So what is he talking about? He struggled with them, bro. You acting like fucking Buchanan was Duran's Meldrick Taylor over.
I mean, like I said, that shows you how good. That shows you how good Duran was. That he was doing that to Ken Buchanan because not a lot of people could do that. Do you know what I mean? Very, very underrated fighter, Ken Buchanan.
And let's not forget the ending. The stoppage was controversial. It was like Andrew Ward versus Kovalev, if you know what I mean. Low blows. But
they had that. That was the Italian dude who was reffing that fight. What was that motherfucker's name from the old days? Oh my god,
Vito Linguini.
No, fuck that, fucking taco sombrero. But anyways, he was one of the old school refs.
I threw you off, with that fucking Linguini. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the Linguini deck over here. Fucking.
All right, listen. I didn't want to stick too much to De La Hoya, but because we could talk about him later on, because I just wanted to wrap up with this Chavez thing. But De La Hoya, Recognize mentioned about how De La Hoya never really took the training all that seriously. He did a lot of partying. And also, he had a bit of an identity crisis. He never really knew whether he wanted to be boxer, a puncher, a boxer-puncher. He was always switching trainers.
A singer. He wanted to be an actor. He wanted to be a model.
Yeah.
This dude wanted to do everything. And it was
wanted to be a cross-dresser.
Let me finish this point. If this guy sticks to boxing, just boxing, this dude would have been fucking unreal. He just would have been unreal.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Totally agree. The problem with Oscar, what I noticed with Oscar, when Oscar was in shape, trim and athletic, when he used his speed and his explosiveness, he was a monster, one of the best. But the problem with Oscar, because he used to party a lot, you used to see him, he used to come in the ring quite flabby. I'd seen him, he never looked really in good shape. I mean, he was in terrible shape against Packer, drained himself to a ridiculous weight that he couldn't fight at, and it was a zombie that in the ring that night. This is what I'm saying. Most of his big fights that he lost, he was never in very good shape. And this is just what Recognize said. If he'd had Floyd Mayweather's mindset when it comes to keeping in shape, then he would have been an all-time fucking great. He already is, but he would have had a lot more wins on his resume. When to
me, the best version.
I just want to go to the after party at Chavez and Camacho down in fucking with Juan Garcia Brego and shit like that. That shit would have been fun.
You know, to me, the best version of De La Hoya, the one that if you ask me, okay, which version of De La Hoya would you pick against anybody in the history of boxing? I would say against the version that fought Whitaker, because when he fought Whitaker, he was he had hooked up with El Maestrito. I forget his name, but he was this legendary Mexican trainer that had trained Miguel Canto, one of the best Mexicans of all time, and he had De La Hoya moving his head more. More boxing from the outside. So, and he, listen, most people think, oh, you know, he got, oh, hold on a second. How come I can't hear the, okay,
It's coming.
Yeah, it's slowing down. All right.
I need to change that shit.
I want to give a shout out to Virtuoso, who just donated with the super chat. And he says, when Recognized said De La Hoya was behind the 8 ball, did he mean that literally? Sniff, sniff. Oh, come on. Yeah, Recognize. What were you trying to say there, man? Come on.
Of course I did. He was there. That's exactly what I meant.
That's what he meant.
He meant both. He meant both. Recognize meant both. He meant literally and figuratively, bro.
Exactly.
Cocaine is a major. Cocaine is a major problem in boxing today. They're all on it. I mean, let's be real. Tank's on it. Spence is on it. Broner's on it. Tyson Fury, he's had his fair share, isn't he? Hatton's had his fair share. Calzaghe. I mean, boxing. I remember, did I tell you that story when my mate took me to a boxing match one time? It was in Nottingham. Frotch was on that card. It was when he was like just coming up. He'd had about 20 odd fights. Herbie Hyde was fighting on that card as well. I remember it. And
Herbie Hancock.
Yeah, he was talking about yesterday, actually, funny enough. But we went to this fight. And this guy who my mate knew, he was fighting on the undercard. I think it was just like a journeyman sort of thing. And we watched him fight, and he came up to the stands to greet us. And he's like, sorry, boys, because he got beat. And I was like, don't apologise to me, mate. I didn't take the whooping. You know what I mean? And he handed a parcel over to my mate. And I was like, what the fuck's got there? He was like, he was a boxer. He was in the ring. He just passed a load of cocaine to my mate to sell. Do you know what I mean? He was obviously dealing with my mate. And I didn't know at the time. The guy had just been in the ring, got his ass whooped, and come back with a big package. Dealing with this cocaine is massive in boxing. I mean, it always has been, and that's a problem. When fighters have not got that adrenaline anymore, and they've not got a purpose in life. That's why boxers don't want to quit, because when they do, they go off the rails. This is why they always skint, or they become crackheads or cokeheads or fucking drunks.
Yeah. Well, and let me say this too, for a lot of the younger Mexican dudes, and I'm not, and I'm knowing other places, but you gotta remember, like, all them boys that come from Arizona and New Mexico and Texas and shit, all them dudes' daddies was in a gang or a fucking cartel or in prison, and then they end up going to buy, like, it's been around them forever too, that kind of shit, the power.
Yeah,
I'm talking.
Yeah, like I said, it's that one drug that boxers seem to go to replace that adrenaline they get from fighting, and it's not they're taking it when they're not going to get that adrenaline. Nothing gives you the adrenaline of going into a fight in front of thousands of people with millions watching it. You just won't replace that. No cocaine in the world will do that.
And it makes sense that boxers love cocaine, because it's
it does though. That's what I'm saying. It does make sense. Yeah. This is why they do it.
You ever heard of taking it to the head? I don't know if you guys ever.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys ever messed with coke before, but there's this thing we call take it to the head, right? And you put it in your hand, and you do it real fast. You sniff it, and you go into a fight. Like you go into a club. Let's say you're gonna dance, and there's gonna be a lot of bumping into each other. You do that shit, your adrenaline is through the roof. You know what I'm saying? You're like fucking. You're ready for everything. But you gotta. I'm sure these boxers do it. I'm positive that they've done it. You know what I'm saying? I know one person who definitely did it, and that's Camacho Sr.
Oh yeah.
Okay, he definitely did it. And you just take it and you just do it real fast on your hand, and you go into a confrontation, like, where there's gonna be a lot of bumping into, or you might even have to throw hands. That shit is like an adrenaline rush. It's like a shock, and you just go into this like Tasmanian devil mode.
By the way, has it been proven that long-term cocaine use kills your reflexes, or is that just
maybe it does. Maybe it does.
I can't believe all them drugs got some kind of effect on your reflexes.
Yeah, I can't believe taking that is going to help you and make you a better fighter. Surely not.
Imagine if it did, though. Man, that'd be nice.
Yeah, but all
It's
them
like when,
shits,
it's
all
like
them
when
shit-
the, it's like when the Diaz brothers kept getting banned from the UFC for smoking cannabis. I mean, why? Well, like a spliff is going to make you more explosive in the ring or anything. It's just not going to help you any sort of way. If anything, it's going to make you lethargic. It's going to
Jorge Masvidal
hinder
is
you. If
king of
anything.
Jorge Masvidal is king of Stockton, and anyways, yeah, we own Masvidal owns Stockton now, and he'll slap the brother around too. What's up with it? But anyways, fucking what's it called? Yeah, man, all them shits fuck up all them like anything. They all fuck up your hand-eye coordination, your reflexes, all that shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're gonna mess you up eventually.
Hey, we've got a LaQuisha that seems to think Charlo sleeps, Canelo in 6. She's going, Lord have mercy. And
Lord.
what else is she saying? Lord have mercy. I don't know what's wrong with her. But listen, please put please put Charlo in there with Canelo. Please.
That's what we do it for, nigga. Real talk, nigga.
If you think the Wilder fight was a bad day for you, then wait
would
till
you even
fucking
be
Canelo
excited
gets
to
his
watch
hands
that
on
fight?
Charlo.
LaQuisha,
Would you even be excited?
Hey, baby girl, LaQuisha, you come over here, give me a ride. I'll buy you a cream-flavored Black and Mild. Come on, man. Let's go.
Hey, this is what
Wilder's still the face of boxing.
LaQuisha's a troll.
According to LaQuisha, Wilder's still the face of boxing. Is that Wilder with the gimp mask or without it? But get out of it. Face of what? His face was on the. I tell you what, his face had a towel fucking chucked in it. That's the only thing I can remember about his face. Come on, man, get out of it.
No, we ain't going there.
Your boy's shot to pieces, mate. He's going to be in a mental asylum soon. Mate. He's lost.
Big facts. He didn't lose that fight. You didn't see that. That didn't happen. Big facts. Big facts.
Facts.
All right.
No,
listen.
not facts. Big facts.
All right, listen. I wanted to say something about. Oh, jeez, my mic is fucking up again. Yeah, but just real quick about De La Hoya. All right, you know what? Let's move on from De La Hoya. I said that 20 minutes ago.
Fuck De La Hoya, man. Fuck
De La Hoya, man.
Listen, I want to come back to the Chavez thing because he said this all started because he said Meldrick Taylor had the best skills, best jab. Fuck, De La Hoya. Okay, we're back to De La Hoya. He says Oscar De La Hoya because he was tall and used it to mark his range, which is true. I mean, De La Hoya had a fantastic jab. He, against Corte, who had a hell of a jab. Against Trinidad, he was outboxed him there. Even against Hopkins, he wasn't doing bad with the jab. The jab was keeping him in competitive in that fight against the bigger, taller Bernard Hopkins. Now we get to Pernell Whitaker. He says, best defense, Pernell Whitaker. See, that's what I like about Chavez. He's not saying, Meldrick Taylor, Hector Camacho, guys I beat. No, he's saying the guy that, in a lot of people's eyes, beat him. He says, Whitaker was very elusive, and although I thought he was a dirty fighter, beyond that, he was just hard to find, and especially hard to hit. And you know what I like about Pernell Whitaker against Chavez? He didn't run. He wasn't, hitting and moving. I mean, he was moving, but he was always staying within range to come back at Chavez with something. He was just turning him, getting on the inside, pivoting. I mean, it was a fantastic display of boxing from Whitaker. The fact that Chavez was beating up Camacho. What the fuck? What are you doing?
Oh shit! I thought I was muted. Sorry.
Yawning into that. Yeah, every time you think you're muted, you yawn, you burp, you eat.
Man.
You
I think that was his fucking hint to move on, bro.
Okay, come on, man. Listen. Well, what's boring? Oh, you tell me then. What do you want to talk about then?
That's not true, Stu. That's not what I meant.
I think that's what he meant, man.
Hey, there's glass eyes all over the country falling asleep right now.
Oh, come on.
Get on with it, bro.
All right. Well, listen. We'll move on then.
Hey, Stu said it, not me, okay?
All right. Well, I mean, tell me, man. Is it boring to talk about this Chavez stuff, or?
I mean, look, we covered it, and it's like, yeah, it's cool, man. It's like, yeah, all right, Chavez. I liked you at one point,
All right, let's move on then. All right, we got.
Hey, I was joking by the way, man.
No, I think he's right, man. I think he's right. I don't think people want to hear about Chavez anymore. So.
Well, like I said, I think we've done like 45 minutes on the guy. So.
Yeah, you're right.
What else is there the same? Chavez is great. I mean, there's a lot of other greats we could talk about as well.
Well, you're gonna love this one then. Best I ever faced from Winky Wright. I don't think you guys are gonna be. I don't think.
He better not say Trinidad. Then he's just fucking troll.
Well, who would he? Okay, let's see. Best skills, he says it was Shane Mosley. Best defense, he says I Corte. I would have gone with Hopkins though. But anyway, listen, he's the one that fought this guy, so he should know better. Smartest, he said Bernard Hopkins. All right, he
Yeah.
best puncher, Felix Trinidad. He didn't catch me, but you could feel it. You don't want to get hit with this. I had a few.
He didn't touch me, but I could tell.
Well, I mean, listen,
Yeah.
but hey, you know what? He was standing in front of Trinidad and blocking shots, so I'm pretty sure he could feel the shots.
Yeah, he probably felt it. He probably felt power.
Hey, I tell you what, right? B Hop, right? When you get finished with this, get B Hop's record. I'm intrigued to see what is. I know he's fought a lot of good guys, man, but we get a chance to put that.
I'll tell you this: B excuses after taking an L.
Oh, mate. Yeah, he's better than Wilder. He's better than Wilder.
Yeah,
he cries robbery. He cries robbery when he loses a fight 11
But
rounds
he's
to
also
one.
actually smarter than Deontay Wilder, which is not really saying much, So he could really like try to sell it.
What you got to understand about Bernard Hopkins is when I step in the ring. All right, listen. Here's his resume. Here's his resume. So he lost to Jones Jr. 2 years later, he fights Segundo Mercado. Finally gets a title. He beats Steve Frank, who was undefeated. No, he was undefeated. He beat Joe Lipsy, who was undefeated, but I think he retired afterwards or lost a whole bunch of fights later. So that, I mean, he didn't do much. William Bo James was a journeyman at best. John David Jackson, who was a little bit past his prime. Glenn Johnson. Okay, so this Glenn Johnson, he wasn't as good as he went on.
That's a good win. Glenn Johnson was a tough old, the road warrior, Glenn Johnson.
Yeah, and he broke him down. I mean, it was a beautiful display. That was a beautiful display of boxing from Hopkins. One of his best fights, one of his most impressive outings. Watch it; it's on YouTube.
This is what upset me about Hopkins, BDA. The guy was capable of being quite exciting, but he just chose to stink the joint out time after time.
Right. Well, actually, that happened more when he was older. When he had
but nice. No, I mean, let's be real. He's sport a few evenings. Let's just say that.
Yeah, it's true.
He's sport a few of mine. I know that.
He's spoiled a couple of nights. Yeah,
but look,
quite a few of my nights, to be honest with you. I mean, fucking stayed up to watch that, and it was absolute torture.
All right, but hold on.
I mean, no one should go through that.
Hold on, because I've seen almost all of his title fights or his big fights, so I can tell you which ones were clean and which ones weren't. Andrew Council, again, he didn't. Most of you have never heard of the guy, but at the time he'd just beaten Buddy McGirt. He was a tough middleweight. He came in to fight. This is the fight that broke Hopkins' fight KO streak. This guy went the distance with Hopkins, but he took a beating, and that was in the guy's hometown. And the referee, fucking Kenny Chevalier, I think you know who he is. He's this little dude that's always moving around the ring. You know, what's the name of that dog from the Looney Tunes cartoons? There was the big dog, and then there was the little dog that was always running around, the big dog, running circles around him. That's what this referee reminds me of. And every time guys clinch, he goes up to them and slaps them and screams and slaps him in the back real fucking hard. I think even Hopkins joked, listen, the referee hit me harder than this guy did. But, all right.
Hopkins, man. He was a cold motherfucker, Hopkins.
Who was that dude Hopkins was fighting at one time? And Steve Smoger just went up in there and muffed the fuck out of it and fucking face palmed the shit out of that dude.
Oh, it was the. Hold on, his name is here. It was one of his later fights, right? Kara Murat, I think you're talking about.
Yes, that shit was hilarious. I'm like, oh, Steve Smoger's a goon for that.
Yeah. What the fuck, man? He was like, he was acting like Marv Albert. Remember Marv Albert?
Pull that fucking clip up, BDA. That shit's funny as hell.
I don't think we can put. It's too new. It's too
recent. When you look at Hopkins' resume here, right? This is proof that even the best had fucking easy fights even back then. Do you know what I mean? Sort of thing. Hopkins there. Look, there's a few guys there. Why does he need to fight Antoine Eccles twice in 3 fights?
Okay, Stu, very good question. They forced him. The IBF, they didn't like the guy. Hopkins at the time was a big mouth, speaking against the man, aka the boxing system, and they wanted to screw him over. And they said, listen, you had a hard fight against him the first time around. We're putting you back in there with him. And time, Hopkins actually.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, he's got the same with Robert Allen. He's fought him twice as well. This is just in a list of about 6 fights. He's got two there where he's fought them twice. So yeah, look. As he got a bit older, that's when the big fights started to come, and that's when like I said Felix Trinidad there. Now we're talking.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
my fucking dog, because we've been on lockdown or whatever, the barber shop's closed, dog. My hair's long. I'm gonna be Anton Chigurh here in a couple of days, bro. What the fuck is it?
Oh man,
Johnny's walking around looking like fucking Antonio Banderas, isn't John?
Yeah, man. Fucking. What's his hair? I look fucking dazed and confused over here and shit, man. Come on.
As long as you don't get the Paulie Malignaggi haircut, you'll be all right.
Oh, man, come on, bro. I ain't gay.
Oh, now
The
listen, wait a
rat's
minute.
tail.
Yeah, nah.
The Paulie's rat's tail. You got to get Paulie's rat's
Let me spike my hair up and get a headband like fucking Mike Bibby over here. Get the fuck out.
All right, now, all right. So we got Bernard. We talked about Bernard Hopkins. That's fantastic. I mean, listen, a lot of people like to give Bernard Hopkins a hard time. Not all of his fights were boring, especially the fights where he was more in his prime. He was more of a boxer puncher who won fights cleanly most of the time. Just to go, let's
talking about Bernard Hopkins is like it's like talking about an art gallery in Manhattan that sucks. It's like it's hard
art
to talk
gallery.
But just when you compare it to greats, though, like I said, he's always mentioned it. I mean, I wanted to see his resume really to see because I do remember it being quite good, but I can't remember all of his fights, obviously. But yeah, there's a few there that would give me fights, weren't they, sort of thing.
Well, yeah, certain of his fights. I mean, it wasn't all. It wasn't all. I mean, yeah, it's. Against Winky Wright, he stung the jaw in that. Against Joe Calzaghe, he stung the jaw in that. Against Chad Dawson, the second fight, and the first fight too. What the fuck was? It happened 3 times. It happened against Robert Allen.
Yeah, Hopkins just needed an excuse to get out of there sometimes, didn't he? Just needed one. You know, he's always trying to get out of there. When things weren't going his way, he'd try and find a way out. And I think that's one thing that sort of like turned a lot of people on Hopkins, because Hopkins didn't really. I mean, like I said, Hopkins has been booed coming into the ring on many occasions. The defeat, like a true warrior should. Do you know what I mean? He's always moaning and I got robbed, and he probably lost 11 rounds in most people's eyes. Mm-hmm. He's claiming foul play. If he got hit low, he'd make out that he's got a testicle in his stomach and he can't fight no more, sort of thing. He'd find a way out any way he could. He'd headbutt his way to the wind. Just a fucking horrible star for him, and he just ruined a lot of big occasions for me. But you can't take away from what he achieved. I mean, special guy. It takes special guys to fight until they're 50 and hold it with the best. I mean, Sergei Kovalev at the time was the biggest puncher in boxing, and he hit Hopkins with fucking everything, and that guy was still standing. I mean, one of the toughest son of a bitches you'll ever see in a boxing ring, Bernard Hopkins, and a very smart guy, and this is why he lasted till 50, because he stunk the joint out, but he wasn't getting hit while he was doing it. Very, very hard man to hit clean. Duck broke the rules all the time. Duck to below the waist, not allowed to duck below the waist. Hopkins was always ducking below the waist, holding far too long, flying in with his head first. Broke every rule in the book, but you know, it got him.
Because he really wasn't that good as a boxer. That's
come on, what are you talking about? You know what?
No. I mean, listen. No.
Go ahead.
Again. Let me explain myself. You don't have to have the greatest skills. People think that you have to be like this super skilled fighter to win a fight. First of all you gotta do is let your hands go. That's one. Second, it's credit to him. He's a dirty fighter because he doesn't know how to like box creatively, create punches when somebody's got a beat on what you're doing, right? When a man has a beat on you, what you're doing, and you can't really do anything else, it's because you're not that fully skilled as a boxer. Okay? First of all, there's not that much you can do anyway in boxing, but you can make punches. You can what's the word? You can set up punches and stuff like that and do things different. His way of doing it was roughing you up and getting away with it.
Yeah, but to be fair, man, to be fair, when he started to be at his most dirty, we're talking the Winky Wright fight, we're talking the Joe Calzaghe fight. The guy was fucking 43 years old, man. I mean, I'm not justifying it, but I'm explaining. When he was in his prime, I don't think he would have been as dirty against those guys if indeed he would have fought them in the late 90s, early 2000s. But listen, that's Bernard Hopkins. I think he's pretty good, or he was pretty good. I think he had great defense and a good firepower. And when he wanted to, he could get a little dirty in there and frustrate opponents. But what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, let's just go real quick because I don't want to bore anybody here with this list. But Winky Wright, then he said that the best chin was Sam Soliman. Surprised he picked that guy. Best jab, Paul Williams. Huh. He kept me at a distance and I had to try to get inside. Fastest hands, Mosley. Oh, yeah, I got to say Mosley. I never fought anyone like that. He was a quick puncher. He was very fast. And he was in his prime, too. Fastest feet. Whoa, he picked Robert Frazier. You know who had good feet? Robert Frazier. He was the one that moved a lot. Strongest, Julio Cesar Vasquez, who dropped him 5 times, by the way. Not muscle-bound strong, just strong. He was a big guy. Well, for you. It was my first time going 12 rounds. And his best overall, Shane Mosley. He didn't pick Fernando
Vasquez
Vargas.
beat him up. Vasquez was the only guy that beat Winky Wright's ass. Like he clearly won that fight.
Mm-hmm. And hey, going back,
did they stop it or it went the distance?
It went the distance.
Yeah, they should have stopped that fight.
And not for nothing, man. But speaking of Julio Cesar Vasquez, guess who beat him cleanly? The smaller Pernell Whitaker.
Yeah, Pernell Whitaker went up there and beat him.
That's a credit to Pernell Whitaker, man. By the way, I see we got Gonzalo on the line. Gonzalo, you there? Gonzalo.
Yeah, how's it going, Mr. BDA?
Hey, good to have you on board, man. How you doing?
Doing all right.
All right, fantastic, man. We're just talking boxing here and talking about the best, some of the best we've ever seen, this and that. I gotta take issue with Bucho. I gotta take issue with you on something because I think it was yesterday, the show you did. One of you mentioned Marquez. I think it was Johnny Boy, Marquez Barrera Morales, who was better, and you said, well, Marquez, other than the Pacquiao win, he had Casamayor and that's it. May I remind you?
No.
He also beat Marco Antonio Barrera, and he outlasted Barrera and Morales and beat 2 younger, bigger guys and knocked them out in Juan Diaz and Michael Katsidis. So it's a very, very close race, man. Very close.
Yeah, plus he had the Pacquiao series, which were 4 fights and they're all close. It's like not fighting 4 different guys, but fighting one guy that's really good for different occasions.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So that's got to count for something.
It's got to count for something, man. But I will say, though, because we were talking about this 2 episodes ago, I believe, when we put up that list of Hamed saying that he would have knocked out or actually beaten very easily everybody. He said he would have beaten Tapia easily, which, okay, I'll give him that one because Tapia was a smaller guy. He says he would have beaten Morales easy, Marquez easy, Arturo Gatti easy, and he even went on to say that he would beat Floyd Mayweather. Yeah, exactly. So I think Nassim Hamed is a little bit insane. But
this guy had the biggest ego in boxing in the 90s. I mean, anyone remembers Hamed. Massive ego on the guy, and that was probably his downfall at the end of the day. You know, he started to believe his own hype, a bit like Wilder. I mean, Wilder thinks it's not only that Wilder thinks no one on this planet can beat him. Wilder thinks no one in this universe can beat him. I mean, he thinks reptilians are scared of this guy. I mean, this is how fucking deluded this guy is. He's like the hardest man in the universe, according to him. And when you have that mentality, you know, you start to think you're unbeatable, and you start cut corners, and you start, you know, instead of working on things you need to work on, he's just thinking you've got to go in there, just land the right hand.
Wilder could beat the whole universe except Fury, right?
Listen,
that's the thing.
The Pope's blessings couldn't help you. Can't nothing help you. You're done. It's that simple.
The Pope couldn't save you, Wilder.
The Pope couldn't save you.
Yeah, I think that Hamed had the same problem with Wilder. I think when you start believing your own hype and you start to cut corners, and you know it's not working on. He stopped working on stuff, and he started to lose that yard, that little half a yard, because he was all about explosiveness, wasn't he? And angles. He was so unorthodox. Princess, he was so unorthodox. He used to hit you with shots that you didn't see coming. That's why I had so many knockouts, because they're the ones that knock you out, the ones you don't see coming. He used to come from very strange angles where a lot of fighters are not used to shots coming from there. That's why they don't see it. So he's but then he got very sloppy at the latter round. Like Barrera was tagging him up for fun. Kevin Kelly was tagging him up. He started to get wild and jump in square on, and you know he lost that half a yard where he used to get away from shots, and it's all about
Look at those thin legs. Look at those thin legs.
Yeah, it was all about like defense and athleticism at one point. But then when he started losing that, he started getting tagged up.
In that other picture you just had pulled up, bro, he looked like he was on Goofy Street right there. He was on Goofy. He was on fucking Goofy Street. On that one where he was on the floor, not in midair. He looked like he's like, fuck, bro. Go back to that picture.
He knocked him down 4 times. Really, in that fight, he knocked him down 4 times. He knocked Wilder down.
Yeah, like I mean, that was, it was just like I said, it was a bad beating. It's not like it's not one you can bounce back from in a hurry. For me, I think Butcho said it the other day when he said that this kind of virus thing is probably the best thing to happen to Wilder, and I totally agree with it. This guy was getting.
I think it's the worst thing.
This guy was getting thrown into the lion's den again.
I think it's the worst thing that could have happened to him. Worst thing. Because there's nothing to talk about. And that, it's just that loss that he took, bro.
Yeah, but you got to think from Wilder's point of view, they wanted him to run into his own demise. A couple of months later, the guy had no time to gather his thoughts. This guy needs to change things up. He can't do that too much.
Somebody's got some somebody's got some ruthless echoing. I don't know.
I'm
struggling to hear any of you, to be honest with you.
I don't hear any.
Look at that's what does that face tell you right there? That's a man he looks like he's done.
Like, oh, you know what that face says to me in a sentence? Oh fuck. That's what that face looks like.
Exactly. Oh man.
I'll tell you what that face reminds me of. When in Casino, when Joe Pesci's watching his brother getting baseball battered to death. He's got that look on him. I'm next. Do you know what I mean?
No, what are you doing?
He's still breathing, Frankie. Just leave him alone. Leave him alone.
Leave him alone, man.
All right,
Gary,
listen.
just leave him alone. He's still breathing.
I wanted to.
I think what he should have said was, "Come on, be kind to my brother and just finish him and let him fucking." Because how can you look at that beating scene and think that he's gonna survive that?
Well, you never know, man. I mean, I fell down.
I fell down. Want to survive that.
I fell down a flight of stairs once, and I thought for sure I was gonna get a bruise, and I was not bruised, surprisingly. So I said,
but he broke the bones in his body and his upper respiratory.
Now that you mentioned that, yeah, you're right. You got a bit of a point. All right, listen.
Even if you survive that, you're gonna be living in misery your whole life.
Right. I don't think the point was to let them live.
Yeah, somebody. It's either me.
It's Mr. BDA. I keep saying, check your Discord. BDA.
Okay, so what do I do though?
I don't know.
I think it's because you're fucking hosting. I think it's because you're hosting the fucking show. So it's putting me in a conundrum here. Listen, we're gonna leave this call and I'll start another one, right?
All right.
But fuck, I'm gonna have to create another group.
You want us to hang up?
Yes. All right, so I'm just gonna call King Bucho. All right, and then I'm gonna send him the invite so he can send it to Stu, because I don't get Stu on the line for some reason. All right, Bucho, I'm calling you, man. What are you doing? All right, hold on a second. What the fuck? I can't create a group anymore? What is this? Yeah, I can't create a group, man. It says pinned messages. Oh, no, okay. No, sorry. All right. By the way, we got to get precise. He's posting all the time on Carnival, and he's not coming on the show. I mean, I don't know what's going on here. He's got to come back. He's got to come back home. No. Okay.
Let me send the links.
You send the link? Okay. Yeah, send it to Stu, send it to Gonzalo, everybody else. Meanwhile, hit the likes, man. Like Johnny Boy saying in the chat room saying, hit the like, subscribe. Don't be afraid to send us a couple of shekels so you got the funds. And we'll just keep talking boxing here. What was I going to say here real quick? All right, so Winky Wright, not fooling around. He's saying that. By the way, Bucho, could I play a clip from Rahman Maskaev? It's just a 5-second clip. It's from 1998, the fight.
I guess, yeah.
It's one. I don't know why this is. I shouldn't laugh at this, man. I should not be laughing at this, but it makes me laugh.
I want to hear it.
Because recognize mentioned the Steve Smoger. All right, this is the infamous fight where where
No, it was
Mask
me.
Guy.
Yeah.
By the way, there's no more echo, right? Hopefully.
No.
That's I can hear you a lot better as well.
Oh,
yeah,
good.
it sounded like you was screaming at the top of the Grand Canyon, BDA.
Okay.
Yeah, I could barely hear any of you guys.
Yeah.
All right. Oh yeah, but okay. Before we start about that, about Rahman, I wanted to tell you something too. I want to talk a little bit about the future. By the way, Bucho, did you invite Gonzalo?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to talk a little bit about the 2000 heavyweights, man, because I was talking about how with Gonzalo about how we might be bringing Chris Bird on the show, maybe tomorrow, one of these days, former two-time heavyweight champion. And I remembered, who are some of the toughest heavyweights from that era? Because Lennox Lewis was schooling almost everybody at some point, and it seemed after the David Tua fight that there wasn't really anybody that was going to be able to give him a tough fight. But lo and behold, Rahman knocked him out, and then Vitaly Klitschko came along. So there was always somebody coming along. But Ike Ibeabuchi, Ike fucking Ibeabuchi is the guy that whenever people talk about what if, they'll talk about Salvador Sanchez, Tony Ayala, they'll talk about what's his name, Edwin Valero, and Ike Ibeabuchi has to be at the top of the list of what ifs in history. What if he wouldn't have gone nuts? What if he wasn't a fucking sexual predator? Could he have beaten Lennox Lewis, as a lot of people say he could have, or in message boards around the nation, around the internet? He was 6'2", but for some reason he looked taller. He was about 230 pounds, or maybe more, I believe. He went toe-to-toe with David Tua. Didn't he seem shaken by it? He knocked out the very elusive Chris Bird. Guys, what do you think? I mean, was Ibeabuchi as good as people said he was, or would he have been exposed at some point?
He did knock out John Ruiz, and
what
after that, David Tua.
No, I'm saying,
sorry. No, hold on. Fuck. Okay.
No. Too late, Bucho. Too late.
Ike Ibeabuchi. No. He knocked out Chris Bird.
That's right.
And Chris Bird was drooling. Like, remember that shit?
Yeah.
I mean, he really fucked him up, man.
I drooled, but it wasn't on a ring, Matt.
Oh, rim shot. But yeah, I get what you're saying. That he knocked out Bird was very elusive, man, and Ibeabuchi was able to catch him, something that nobody was able to replicate until Klitschko stopped Bird. I think
exactly
2006, I believe. I mean, this Ibeabuchi was scary, man. I mean, listen, here's a little photograph of him against David Tua, which, by the way, for a long time, it was the fight that held the record for most punches thrown in a heavyweight title bout until Ariola versus what was the name of that Polish guy that just got beat?
Nowacki.
Nowacki, yes, thank you. So this was it, man, for about almost 20 years, maybe more. And
somebody, real quick, BDA, somebody told me the other day that I guess Dan Raphael said that Nowacki went home and beat the shit out of his woman or something like that after the. No, I'm serious. I'm serious. So I said, well, what happened? Was he angry that him? I said, were him and Dan Raphael fighting at the fucking buffet line, or what's going on over here?
Oh, come on, man. What are you doing? There's nothing funny about spousal abuse. That's why we have in our alert a clip of a movie of a guy beating his wife up, because it's a PSA, public service announcement. We're trying to raise awareness about spousal abuse. It's a big no-no right here.
I told Butzo this yesterday, BDA, and I'll tell you too. If we in the zombie apocalypse, you're gonna see Johnny Boy turned into Max fucking Katie, bro. It's not gonna be pretty.
Well, I believe you, man. I believe you.
Fuck Heath Ledger. I'm the Joker, bro. Stop it,
man. Those fucking Batman movies, they're good. But...
Yeah, the fuck. I remember that
shit. Batman's fucking shit.
All them superhero movies are gay, bro. There was one good one. Yeah. There was one good one, because that bitch came out when I was like a junior in high school. That one with the Heath Ledger and all that shit. We had a big group of us and went to see the fucking. It was in high school. Fucking, that was a good time. But other than that, the movies is gay, bro.
Hey,
my one
the only
cousin,
good thing about. Sorry, go ahead, Johnny.
No, I was just gonna say my one cousin. He's like 45, right? He's got like 15 years on me, or 16, 17. He's like, yo, I can't wait for the fucking the new Avengers movie to come out, man. I'm like, bro, are you fucking 14 years old or something, bro? Like, the hell's the matter with you? Fucking kid. I'm like, the fuck?
Hey, mate, I'm so fussy when it comes to movies. I was looking at Netflix earlier, and they all look shit to me. I mean, there's nothing I could find that I thought, yeah, that looks good. It was just very fussy. And that Avengers, I mean, to be fair, Iron Man, I do like Iron Man. That's probably the only one I do like. I thought they ruined Superman. You know, they ruined that. And Batman, fucking Batman. And what about Robin? What a fucking hero that guy is. Would you want him trying to protect you? No. Would you fuck? Not fucking. He's like homo, isn't he, Robin? So I just never liked Batman at all. Avengers is not for me.
I still love the old one with Jack Nicholson. That was my favorite. But Jack Nicholson's it's just because of Jack Nicholson.
Sucked, man. Let's be honest.
It's nostalgic.
Never been
Tim Burton.
I mean, the original Superman's all right. They're the best.
Oh, you guys are sick.
Yeah,
no, they're pretty funny.
No, they don't make flicks like they used to no more. Still,
I quite like the Hulk. Nah, the thing is, these days it's all about graphics and
I was gonna say that
they sort of like they put all their eggs into that basket and forget about storylines, and
exactly. That's why they don't want to tell you a story. They just want you to watch shit blow up on the TV.
Yeah,
it's all a green screen.
That's why, like, if someone says to me, "Watch the new Avengers" or "Watch the Irishman," I'm picking the Irishman every day, even though the Irishman's quite long. It's quite slow. It's got a great storyline to it. I don't need special effects. I don't need to see skyscrapers fall into the ground and stuff. No, I want to see.
You know it's fake, right? And you know it's all a green screen.
It's all about graphics these days. I mean, let's be real. Look, the Star Wars today is still not as good as the Star Wars in the 70s and 80s because they were built. It was around a storyline with sort of like they had sort of some special effects, but it was hardly any. But like most of them aliens were like puppets, and they were made handmade sort of thing. No, they were. They were handmade, and they looked quite real. None of it was computerized, and they still couldn't better the 70s and 80s version because everything was about graphics, and they forgot about the storyline, and that's the problem. When you look at all my greatest films that I've watched are all from the 80s and 90s. All of them.
I took because I used to like the old ones when I was a kid. I took my nephew the day after Christmas to see like the new Star Wars or whatever because he wanted to see it. He's like 8, 9. And I'm like, all right, come on. So it was like 2 degrees outside. I took him to see this shit. And he's like, Johnny, this fucking movie sucks, the kid tells me. And he's like, I'm like, I know. Let's get the fuck out of here. So we got out of there and went to the arcade. And plus they're trying to jam all that political and feminist bullshit in there nowadays, too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you've got that social justice warrior bullshit oozing through these movies. I mean, all of a sudden, the women are the saviors of the planet, aren't they? Every big movie you see, there's a woman there's a woman in a leotard saving the day, isn't there? I mean, I'll get out of here. Yeah. I mean, let's be real. Luke Skywalker looked like he looked like a novice compared to that girl, didn't he? And it took him years to learn the Jedi skills. Not that bitch. She fucking just. I mean, let's be real. They ruined Star Wars, and even the producer. I don't think the producer. What's her name? Catherine.
The
Kennedy.
President.
Kathleen Kennedy. Even she says. That they put a social justice warrior sort of message across. It's just a load of bullshit. They've ruined the movies. I mean, look, Ghostbusters. I mean, fucking one of the worst movies. The new Ghostbusters.
Man, there was this one movie I was watching the other night. I'm like, it was with these broads. They were like robbing a bank, and all their husbands got clipped, and these dudes was like coming to get the debt off the. It was fucking retarded, man. It was fucking retarded. I'm like, man, there better be some shit in this movie. It was with 2 black chicks fucking trying to set up a bank. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Y'all couldn't even fucking hold an M16. Fuck out of here, bro. Trying to rob a bank.
Oh, like I said,
I got a 60-year-old 5'4" black woman running up in a bank with a fucking MC. Get the fuck out of my face.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, I'd say 90% of the movies I've watched, this woman, like this 5'2" white girl, weighs a 7.5 stone wet through, is saving the day, chopping through men like it's fucking balsa wood. I mean, let's be real. I mean, I don't mind now and again, but not in all of them. You know, these it's just Hollywood for you, innit? I mean, did you see that song they brought out? Imagine. Did you see that? When please tell me you saw that, guys. All these fucking lefty all the lefty retards. They did a song. Imagine John Lennon's song. It was like to try and cheer people up through the convoy, and it backfired on them. It was like, well, no one wants to hear that shit. So, I mean, what's it called? Imagine celebrities. Put that in Google and you'll see it. But
let me put it to you this way: if there's a bunch of homosexuals singing and smiling at me, it's just gonna make me want to slap them even that much harder. So I don't understand. I don't know.
I mean, you've got these imagine all the people.
Yeah.
No, fucking, I don't imagine anything right now. I'm imagining getting the coronavirus. That's what I'm imagining. I don't need to listen to this shit. I mean, these fucking people are so out of touch.
You're telling me I got.
Imagine there's no borders, no countries. Get out of here, man.
So you're telling me I got 62 fags holding hands and singing John Lennon, smiling at me?
Well, that's what they did. That's what they did when I think the bombings in London. They all got together like with fucking daffodils in their hair with candles singing Imagine by John Lennon, right? And then you got the reports in the back, people standing together, solidarity. Solidarity's not going to stop you getting blown to pieces, man. Fuck solidarity. That's not good. You know, you're trying to fight terrorists with candles. Get out of here, man. Get in the real world. These fucking people. I mean, this is. I'm glad I just stay at home and laugh at these people, man. Because
them dudes are probably freaking out because they ran out of Vaseline already.
Yeah, man, that's what I'm saying. The left think a few candles and a John Lennon Imagine song is going to fucking save the day. Do you feel like these people bore, man?
They ran out of it. They ain't raiding the stores for toilet paper or water. They're looking for that last canister of Vaseline. That's what they're looking for. Fucking homo motherfuckers. Anyway. Yeah. How the fuck did we get on
the thing is, it makes me laugh. Makes me laugh when you see all these fucking white people stuck in these mad countries and they can't get back. I mean, you know, what are you fucking doing there in the first? You deserve to be there. You deserve to be stuck there. What are you doing there in the first place, man? Fucking, you know, you got. Oh, I want to come back to some English girl moaning because she's stuck in Cambodia. What the fuck are you doing in Cambodia, man? Do you know what I mean? So. Yeah. These obviously a lefty, innit? Obviously a do-gooder gone over there to save the fucking day, innit? She's gone to the Burmese jungle and places like that to save the day. You know what these fucking lefties are like? That's why half of them get beheaded and shit when they go to these places. They walk into their own demise, don't they?
I live in Canada, but somehow I ended up in fucking Nicaragua. Now I got six fucking Ricardo Mayorgas chasing me through the fucking jungle over here, trying to fucking collect my fucking head. Yeah. How the fuck did you end up there to begin with, you dumb motherfucker?
Yeah. Listen, mate, there's no, like Dorothy said, there's no place like fucking home, and that's how I like to keep it. I ain't going to get beheaded while I'm at home. You know what I mean? Listen, I'm not fucking, look, I'll donate to charity here and there. I'm not an arsehole, but I ain't about going to Cambodia and trying to fucking, and places trying to help people. Look at them, that guy that from UK. He took a load of Muslims to where did he take to Syria?
Yeah,
a load of aid, like medicine and food and stuff. And he drove them over there, and they fucking kidnapped him and beheaded the guy. I mean, look, he thought he was doing a good deed, but he lost his head for it. That's what I mean. You've got to be careful when you're doing good deeds. They can come back to bite you. So
just
a lot of these people stuck in these countries and bring on themselves.
Look at Rambo 4.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, but he liked that, didn't he? I mean, with John Rambo, he prefers to be in the jungle. Like he needs to be around the gooks, doesn't he? Let's be real.
Hey, by the way, I don't know what you guys are talking about now, but to bring it back to boxing.
The video, do you see? Okay.
Oh, why? Oh, you want to play that cringy video of all the celebrities?
No. Just move on.
All right, this is
what
just
cringy video are you talking about?
The one you told us about.
Oh, it's cringe. No, you don't want to watch that. You're cringe. Trust me, it's terrible.
I just wanted to show you real quick.
I see Rahman against Oleg Maskayev.
Hey, that looks like that looks. Is that the incident when the fucking parachute guy came into the ring?
No, this is when Rahman got knocked out of the ring by Maskayev. But there's one piece. Everybody watches when he goes out of the ring, but they don't see this little nugget because Recognize mentioned Steve Smoger. Look at you're gonna be able to see. I'm gonna show you with show you with my mouse what happened. And I remember the first time I saw it, I laughed my ass off, and I really shouldn't because if it happened to me, I'd be pissed. But okay, hold on a second. So. You know what I'm talking about, Butcher? All right,
I know what you mean.
He gets knocked out. Okay, he gets knocked out. Okay, then watch. This is, I don't know if you guys can see, but with my mouse, I'm circling. That's Steve Smoger. Okay, he was acting as a. He'd probably referee the fight that night, and now he was just working as an official or whatever. Keep watching, all right?
Right, the outside referee.
Yeah, watch here. Watch this, all right? You're seeing it where I'm circling with my mouse? Okay.
Oh, he fell back in the ring. Yeah.
Did you? Hold on a second. Watch again. This is him.
Somebody hit him with a fucking chair.
I'm sorry, man. I should laugh, man. But I laugh. You know what I laugh? Not because he got hurt. He was okay, by the way. But I laugh. But who the fuck threw a chair? Like, what are the odds that somebody would throw a chair and that look at that? It's like got something out of a movie, man. And his reaction is priceless because he's looking around like, what the fuck was that? Look at that, man. Somebody who threw, and that just shows the pandemonium. So he gets knocked out. Smoger takes a chair, and then I like how they zoom out and they show you this. Like, see that Rahman's there. They're trying to take care of him. Then they zoom out, and look at what's happening. Look what's happening on top of the screen. There's a big fight. It's like, what did
if you ever go to,
you know what the best was.
BDA, if you ever go to a boxing fight, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah, I was gonna let you talk.
No, if you ever go to a boxing fight, there's always fighting in the stand. A lot of times, obviously, you're not focused on the audience, but in every boxing fight that I've been to, there's always been a fight that's broken out. Always. Golovkin versus this kid. What was his name? He just fought him, Derevianchenko. They were fighting, bro. There's people fighting. Every time we look, we'll see something happening. Everybody's like, oh. It's like, yeah, there's a fight breaking out. And you're saying to yourself, what the fuck is going on? So this one is even weirder because Rahman gets knocked out. I wonder how that triggered a fight. Like, okay, he gets knocked out of the ring and it triggers the people a couple of rows to start fighting. I don't get that.
You know what was recognized? It was probably somebody going like, "Yeah, fuck Rahman, get his bitch ass up out of there," and and somebody probably turned around and was like, "Fuck you, that's my boy."
That's what I think happened too. That's exactly what I think happened.
Yeah, the best. My favorite though, the best was when the parachute guy in Holyfield Bow 2. And that fucking dude in Riddick Bowe's corner with the fucking walkie-talkies beating him over the fucking head with the walkie-talkie. That was my favorite.
Was it a walkie-talkie or was it a cell phone?
I don't. It was one of the. Yeah, it was one of them fucking.
You know, one of those big cell phones from back in the days, like those car phones.
Exactly. Yeah.
People used to walk around with them. They thought they were cool. I mean, it was around that time. It was in the mid. That happened. No, that happened in the mid '90s. That fight.
It reminds me of that video from the 90s from Positive K. I forget what the name of the video is, but these guys are walking into a club and one of them's got a cell phone. And it's like that cell phone from Wall Street, the movie Wall Street. You know, the big ass fucking Gordon Gekko phone. And he's walking around. Yeah. He's walking into the club and he's got this face like, I'm the man. It's like, it's a big ass fucking, like, it looks ridiculous now, obviously. But.
When Riddick Bowe fought Andrew Galata, right? Like at first it started when they started fighting in the ring and the crowd started fighting. But then it turned into a gang shit. Like it's just like, yo, why are you guys fighting? And even to the point where when like I said, you guys know the story. As I'm leaving Madison Square Garden, everybody's all hyped up and these dudes wanted to fight us. But it's like that's how quick these situations happen. It's like they're watching a boxing fight. And next thing you know, something happens, and they're fighting each other. Like the closest people next to each other are fight. And I always said to myself, "What did they say that triggered the fight?" I mean, Rockman getting knocked out of the ring had nothing to do with anything. You know, he
You
just
know
got
what I
knocked
think?
out. So I'm thinking Johnny Boy's right when he said, "Look, somebody must have said, yeah, fuck Rockman,' and somebody just threw a chair."
That makes sense, by the way. That makes
Well,
sense.
I mean,
That
I
makes
can see
sense. Hold on, hold on.
and then maybe
That makes sense. But I think my theory is these guys, Steve Smoker is so popular. This guy said, "Who the fuck threw a chair at Steve Smoker?" And somebody said, "I did, motherfucker." What? And that's why they started fighting over Steve Smoker. That's my theory. Makes more sense. A little bit more sense.
Steve Smoggers, that shit was funny, bro. Then he muffed that dude, man.
One of the most underrated moments in boxing. By the way, Tone in the chat room says, "Positive K, I got a man." Yeah, that's the video. Thank you, Tone. Thank you for clearing that up.
Or Adrian Broner's father, Positive K.
He does
real
look.
Father. That dude looks exactly like Adrian Broner. I don't care.
He looks exactly.
Positive K is Adrian Broner's dad. I don't care what no one says. What this man got to do with me?
Oh man, the fucking internet's slow today. But yeah, I mean I'm trying to find a perfect picture where he looks like Adrian Broner. Anyway, just watch the guy's video, man, from the 90s. He looks exact because now he's from what I see, he's a little bit on the chubby side. But yeah, that's Adrian Broner's father for sure, man.
I never even heard of that motherfucker, but he does look like
he's a dude for he was truly a one-hit wonder. That's that was his song. I believe he was from New York or down south. I forgot where he was from exactly. I think he was from New York. And yeah, he was from New York. And he had that one song, man. And
by the way, he wasn't Tone got the wrong song. I was talking about another one where he with Big Daddy Kane. But yeah, I think this is the song that made him famous was "I Got a Man." That's the one there. That's just a little
What's
sample.
your man got to do with me? I'm not trying to hear that. See,
I think he tried to recreate it with another one, which was car hopping or something. It was the same shtick that he's rapping and then the girl's rapping back and he raps back, and it was a good song.
Shit,
but...
you know who he looks like too? He looks like Kane from Menace to Society.
Yeah,
he looks like Kane.
All right, we're gonna play. He looks like who?
You know what the best real quick. You know what the best part of that movie is, bro? When that nerdy ass little white guy comes up knocking on the house about the stolen cars, and he's like, "Oh, well, you told me to be here at 11 a.m. I don't give a fuck what I said, nigga. You know,
I don't get out of bed till 2:30. Don't
come around this motherfucker so early next time, man." Yeah.
I wanted to bring up something to your attention there, and I think I've mentioned this thread before. Somebody on SureDog posted about a guy who he went on a message board. Oh, now I'm hearing echo. The fuck? All right, now it's gone. Somebody posted anonymously that he was a heavyweight in the 80s. He said he only had 3 pro fights, but he was a sparring for hire guy for all these top heavyweights. He said he sparred Riddick Bowe, Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield, David Tua, Bert Cooper, and a whole bunch of other guys. And this is what he had to say, because people kept asking him questions. He says, Lennox Lewis hit like a fucking tank. He cowed me. I won the first round, and he literally broke my spirit and took my soul with a right uppercut and a straight right hand in the second. I tried to stay away, and I forgot to punch. He never got me quite as good again, but I will never forget those 2 punches. When we sparred years later, he hit very hard. Distinctly unpleasant to be hit by the man. That's an understatement right there. Distinctly unpleasant to be hit. Can you imagine sparring? I mean, it must have been a nightmare to fight Lennox Lewis. 6'5", 240 pounds with skills. I mean, that must... And you know what? It's interesting. He said that when Lennox Lewis wanted to, he could just jab the shit out of him and stay on the outside. And he said that the guy said he could barely land a finger on Lennox Lewis. And then he said, and then when I did get close, I had to watch out for his right uppercut. So,
yep.
When people say, "Oh, I was rewatching Mike Tyson, by the way, Mike Tyson versus Golada," and that was a Tyson that was trying to get his act together, and he was bobbing and weaving against Golada, and he did pretty well, man. I mean, that was his best opponent since the Holyfield fight. I think even better than Francois Botha. But I saw him bobbing and weaving, and I said, you know what? If that was Lennox Lewis, even a prime, I guess a better version of Tyson, or if it was Vladimir Klitschko in there against Tyson, they would have just leaned on him, man. They would have grabbed him. They would have leaned him. I don't know if Tyson beats Klitschko and Lennox Lewis, man. Even if in his prime. What do you guys think?
They might have been too big.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think the height and the size of them would have been a problem.
I think Mike Tyson could have beat anybody in his prime just because he was young, he was fast and explosive. But that would have been a hard fight. Just given the fact that he was real compact and tight with his punches in his prime, which was only like those 5 years. Anything after slightly past his prime, he doesn't beat him. But in his actual prime, yeah, he was a force to be reckoned
My
with.
father used to say this all the time, man. If you keep this kid outside, you could beat him. But if he gets inside, that's your ass. That's how he saw. That's how he would break down Mike Tyson. He's like, that's it, man. That's the key. Keep him on the outside. You probably beat him. If he starts getting inside, you more likely gonna definitely lose that fight.
Who the fuck was on here talking about they wanted to spend a night in the woods with Mike Tyson yesterday?
Revolution.
Yeah, he said, yeah, if I had to take two people with me, it'd be fucking him and Mayorga. Bro, you would have got fucking butt slammed and your head chopped off, dog. What are you...
Yeah.
But, oh, man.
I still don't understand that, man. I still don't. He's like, if in an apocalypse and you have to go into the woods, who you taking? I got Ricardo Mayorga and Mike Tyson. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
You think you're queer?
That dude's gonna die by snoo, man.
Queer.
Yeah, they'll kill you first.
Well, oh man, yeah.
I think about this dude that I fucked last night, and how his dick was big and his ass was tight, sucking on my cock like a candy cane, rubbing on my balls and fucking out my brain.
One never knows when the homosexual is about.
All right, listen. I don't
think you're queer? I'm gonna tell you something. We're all queer.
All right, that's not true. Now, this is the other thing.
Speak for yourself, old man.
That's right. Vladimir Klitschko and Lennox Lewis would have been a nightmare for Mike Tyson because of the styles. So it's like when we were talking about earlier about De La Hoya Chavez, even a prime Chavez, I don't think he beats a prime De La Hoya just because of the
Probably
power.
not.
Yeah. So that's the same thing with Tyson. However, Tyson Ali, I can see that happening because Ali liked to, the older version anyway, like to lay on the ropes. Prime Ali, the one that beats Sonny Liston, maybe it would be a clean
Tyson
fist.
would beat him.
See, this is just, let me give you my 2 cents on the Tyson. It obviously depends what the best of both guys. So I would say, pre-prison Tyson and fucking Ali that fought Cleveland Williams and all them guys that like right before his license got and all that other shit. But I think Ali would have gotten his head, bro, and fucking beat him on points, dog. That's just me. It would have been a good fight, but I think Ali would have fucking gotten his head and fucked with them, and he would have played the mental game with Mike.
Yeah, Ali, Buster Douglas on the night that he beat Mike Tyson fought similar to how Ali used to fight, a little past his prime, like
kind of
on his toes.
A little bit more. Ali was a little bit more fluid on the with the footwork, but I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good jab. The jab was on point.
I think Tyson would have gotten in. That's what I believe. But if he didn't, yeah, I mean, he would have been. Man, I just remember talking about these fights like with my pops, man, and like some of the things he would say, you just keep it simple. And he was like, "Look, man, this dude is an inside fighter. He gets in, that's your ass. That's it. You're in trouble."
Look, the problem is when you compare Ali to other guys in different eras, especially like when you compare it with the Lennox Lewises and the Vlads and the Tysons and Vitalis, all those sort of people. The problem with Muhammad Ali, there was a period in his career where he was very elusive, very good on his feet, very slick. But he when he came back from that break, he just became a lot easier to hit. When you look at all of his fights, Norton was tagging the fucking shit out of him. Frazier was doing it. You know, Foreman had his moments. Well, we did, didn't he? Fucking landed a few. Let's just say that. Everyone was getting to this guy, tagging him up. I just think when you talk about like Lennox Lewis and Klitschko's and them sort of guys, and Tyson in his prime, I know he's not as big, but Tyson explosive puncher. And I just think he would have got to Ali. Ali was getting tagged up by Joe Frazier. Mike Tyson is fucking a lot better fighter than Joe Frazier. I don't care what anyone's. Mike Tyson would have destroyed Joe Frazier.
Yeah,
and I just think I'd say prime Mike does it, man.
Whoever said Marciano versus Tyson in the chat, listen, bro. Tyson was way too fucking big for Rocky,
Tyson
bro. He would have slapped the shit out of Rocky, dog. And I'd say that as your neighborhood wop here. So
you've got to remember, like Rocky Marciano, like I said, he was just a top fighter for that era. I mean, but when you try to compare a guy from the 40s to a guy from the 90s and the 80s, I mean,
Rocky Marciano was 190 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Like, wasn't he like 190? But Mike Tyson was 220.
189.
But look, you got to remember, Tyson was full of steroids as well at the time. He was a monster. Let's be real, he was an absolute fucking monster of a man. And Marciano would have been in for a horrible night. You know, because one thing about Marciano, he used to rely on his chin a lot to get him out of trouble. And when you're relying on your chin against Tyson,
that might come back.
And you know what?
I just like said with Ali, I just think he got hit too much for me. I think if the big guys of the latter eras were tagging him up like that, then no, I don't see him getting through them ones.
Yeah, Marciano passed away in that airplane accident. But I think he only had a couple of fights left, man, because he had some wars against Archie Moore, against Esther Charles. I mean, it just, I don't think he was made to last too long. Then again, Arturo Gatti, most people thought he was going to be done by 31, and yet he had a bit of a resurgence during his career. But I don't think Marciano was going to start boxing on his toes after a couple of fights. I think he was...
Yeah. I mean, if you put Marciano against any, say, light heavyweight of this era, then I'd give him a chance against anyone. Beterbiev, Kovalev, all them. I'd give him a chance because he's a tough, strong guy and he can hit like a fucking mule. Let's be real. Yeah. So I'd give him a chance. And he had a granite chin, but when you put him in there with massive heavyweights, I can't see that. Can't see him beating them guys.
Yeah, it would have been tough.
Same with Jack Dempsey. Same with Jack Dempsey. Joe Lewis. I mean, Joe Lewis is probably my number one heavyweight of all time, Joe Lewis. But I'm not stupid enough to know that he can't beat Lennox Lewis and beat Mike Tyson and Larry Holmes and Vitaly Klitschko and Vladimir Klitschko. He can't beat those guys. He just can't.
Yeah, that's the thing. I remember after Klitschko beat David Hay, and they did a Ring Magazine article where they were picking who, because I mean at that point Klitschko had pretty much cleaned out the division, so people were asking, okay, who in the history of boxing could have definitively beaten this version of Klitschko? And somebody was saying, well, you know, I forget which trainer it was. I think Larry Holmes would have walked him down. I think Joe Louis would have beaten him. I think, okay, come on. Joe Louis was what, 6 feet tall at best, 6'1"? I mean, I know he was good and everything, but could he actually have? I mean, there is a difference fighting a guy that's got 5 inches on you and about 40 pounds and loves to clinch and he knows how to box a little bit. I mean, these old guys. I'm not so convinced that they can just walk through Vladimir and Vitaly Klitschko.
No, they would have lost to those guys.
Remember,
super heavyweights.
Stu said that somebody said that Sam Langford beats Vitaly Klitschko.
No way. No fucking way.
Well, yeah, we was having a debate about all-time great heavyweights, and we all had to do a list, 10 of us each. Boxing Beats and Rhymes was on it. Errol Jarrett, a guy called Joker Boxing, I think, was on it, and a few other guys. Bin Umar was on it. If anyone remembers Bin Umar and his tape measure, he was there.
Yeah.
And we all had to do a list, and we got onto Boxing Beats and Rhymes. He had Sam Langford, and I said, "Why Sam Langford?" And he goes, "Sam Langford would knock Vitaly Klitschko clean out."
How?
And I
can't even reach that guy.
Well, I nearly spit my tea on the screen. I went, "Yeah, 5'7", Sam Langford is knocking out Vitaly Klitschko." On what fucking planet is this guy? And this is a guy I respect his opinion as well. He's a knowledgeable guy, but even he knows he's got to be kidding himself.
He
can't believe that. He can't. Surely not. But let's be real. Vitaly Klitschko would eat Sam Lanford. Like
Vitaly 6'7", 6'8". Vladimir 6'6". Come on, man. He's not beating.
Vitaly. Look how tough Vitaly is as well. You know, it's not just Vitaly. That's why Vitaly's. I think Vladimir's a better boxer than Vitaly, but Vitaly's a better fighter. If you get what I'm saying. Vitaly's just a harder fight. If I were to choose which one to fight, if I had a choice, I'd pick Vlad. I think Vitaly's a lot harder to fight.
Vlad is a little softer between the two.
These guys weren't just big and shitty. Like, remember Valuev, who was just a giant, but with no skills, whatever. These guys could jab. I mean, one of them had an Olympic gold medal. Vladimir did. They have a jab. I mean, this is insane.
Listen, who's going at me in the chat about Marciano? Shorty, listen, bro. Let me tell you something. Dog. If Marciano was around today, he'd be fighting fucking George Vosdick and shit, bro. He wouldn't even be no heavy. He said Marciano versus Tyson. Man, listen, dog. Sonny Liston would have beat fucking Marciano. All right? Sonny Liston would have beat Marciano.
Yeah, but I mean,
there's a lot of heavyweights.
Nah, listen. Hey, look, I don't think so because Marciano had a bit of mob backing, I reckon, and Sonny Liston was always one for throwing a fight for the mob. So he would have he'd have done a fucking a phantom punch would have landed and he'd have been asleep. So
he would have fucking slapped the shit out of Marciano.
He would have. But like I said, Sonny Liston was a big for that era. Sonny Liston was a massive guy, man. Big, strong guy.
Yeah, he was like one of those 6'3", 230 kind of guys.
He still holds the record for the widest fist, Sonny Liston.
Yeah, so this guy had one of the widest fists. Like, that counts, man.
I'm pretty sure. Imagine, he had big fists.
The thing with Sonny Liston, like I said, I lost a bit of respect for him because I know he threw that second fight.
He threw both of them fights, man.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if he threw the first one. I don't think he did. Like I said, at that time, Clay was at his best. That's the best Clay I've ever seen. And he was a young kid. I think he just got under Sonny Liston's skin, and I just think mentally he broke Liston. And look, if you're going to throw a fight, you're not going to take a beating like that. So, I don't think the first one was fixed, but I know the second one was.
It ain't even, not to mention you got the fucking mob telling to do, and you got the fucking pedophile nation that Ali was a part of.
Oh, now wait a minute. See, I'm not gonna have that. So. I'm not gonna have that. I think that they were trying to get back to their proud African origins, and I think everybody should, man, because it's very important to remember where you come from. All right, that's what I think.
It is, especially for people of. I'm not even gonna say that.
Yeah, Cole, what are you talking about?
Why the fuck is Sam Langford on my screen?
Well, it's because that's the thing though. Sam Langford, this guy. I mean, look, Povetkin was 6'3", 6'4", 200 something pounds, and he was getting bodied by Vladimir Klitschko. You think Sam Langford? Look at him. He looks like a school teacher in there. You think he's gonna fucking survive Vladimir Klitschko's dirty tactics? And this is coming from a guy who hates Klitschko. I know what he's capable of.
Look,
I know the damage.
Hey, look. Hey, listen, I got one for you, BDA. I got one for you.
Go ahead.
Sam Langford versus David Haye. Who you got?
David Haye, man, just too fast. Listen,
of course, David Haye couldn't land a glove on Vladimir Klitschko, and this is a guy that was explosive. Who hit a lot harder than Langford, a lot bigger than Langford, better footwork than Langford, just a better fight all round than Langford. Langford was good for his time. Don't get me wrong, he was a very, very good fighter in his day, pound for pound, one of the best. But look, he can't beat David Haye. So how the fuck would he beat Klitschko? David Haye couldn't land a glove on Klitschko.
I'll tell you what, I got Finito and Lopez beating the shit out of Ernie Shavers too. I mean, that just would have been a fucking incredible fight to see. I got Miguel Canto slapping the fuck out of Joe Louis too, and Now
listen, the thing is this. The training back in the 1800s, early 1900s, is very different from what we got now. People didn't really know much. Back then, they were eating tree bark and chewing it to make the fucking chains stronger. Yeah, they were.
BDA. Their idea here's what they did for training back in the day. They fucking worked on the railroad yard, fucking 12 hours a day, 6 days out of the week, sometimes 7. And then they got drunk and beat the shit out of each other at the bar. That was your training.
That's right.
They didn't have the triple Chiquatro. They didn't have the triple Chiquatro Bowflex and the fucking fondle my balls fucking machine that everybody else.
Hey, I got that one. I got the V3.
Those days though, they were proper fighters, man. They used to like fight 15 rounds, even more in earlier days, like fucking 50, 60 rounds. I remember watching Jack Johnson fighting in the fucking heat for about 40, 50 rounds. You're like, how the fuck is that guy still alive? I mean, they used to fight in the sun back then. They didn't have arenas with air conditioning, so there was a lot. They were proper fighters back then. But today's obviously science. And obviously the way men are a lot bigger these days, science as well, with all the roids and all the nutritionists and all, you know, it just makes you sharper and you're better fighters. And that's just how it is. Most sports, you know, they get better and better as the years go on. You know, it's very. I know a lot of us like to keep our memories of the old fighters and still think they could cope with these new guys, but you got to get real with it sometimes. I mean, as much as I like Jack Dempsey and Marcial, Joe Louis, Ali, and all them guys will get
today's technology makes these fighters look. They're full-time fighters. Those
guys getting knocked out by these. I mean, from the 90s onwards, them guys can't beat those guys. Like who I just mentioned, can't beat those guys from the 90s onwards. I mean, even someone like Shaq.
Hold on.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Heavyweight.
You know what? I'm not even saying that from to be disrespectful that Klitschko destroys Sam Langford, because you do have to respect that the pioneers of boxing. But it is a fact. The technique has gotten better to a certain degree. People know what works and what doesn't. Back in those days, they didn't really know. Yeah, they were tough, like Stu said, fighting 300 rounds, whatever. But there was a lot of wrestling too back then with the bare knuckle guys. So I mean, it's the sport has definitely evolved.
They didn't pull out fights either. You couldn't pull out fights back then with a fucking cold. And these fighters today, they want a reason to pull out. They couldn't do that. And the reason they didn't have much sparring back then is because they was basically fighting every week.
Listen, if you want to compare Ali and Tyson, that's one thing. They fought 20 years apart. There's no sense. There's no sense in or same thing with Leonard and Floyd or whatever. There's no sense in comparing somebody from 150 fucking years ago to nowadays. No. That's just like this is just like me saying, fucking Hercules would have kicked Sam Langford's ass.
But this is the thing. This is why I don't like to get involved with these historians that try to convince me that these guys, because like I said, they're just different eras, different sizes for a start. Marciano would be a light heavyweight in today's fighting, so he wouldn't even be fighting the heavyweights. And same with Jack Dempsey's probably even smaller than Marciano. Jack Dempsey, I mean, I don't know what Jack Dempsey was on the scales, but it was a small guy, man.
All them gladiators from the Roman Coliseum would have kicked the shit out of Sam Langford. What's up?
Yeah, I got a question. Who would have won, Hercules or Samson?
Samson?
Hercules or Samson?
Hercules wins that.
Listen,
I got you guys aren't asking the important question. Is this pre-cutting his hair or post-cutting?
Exactly.
Well, what do you think, man? Come on.
Yeah.
Okay, who would have won, Achilles or Lomachenko?
Lomachenko, he'd nip him in the heel and taking him out.
Hey guys, if Lomachenko loses to Teofimo, what's gonna be the reaction from the Lomachenko detractors?
It'll be
that he was overrated and he was the great white hope and he failed.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
same as if he wins.
He failed for testing himself.
That's a good question, man.
Give him credit if he wins.
Which could happen. That's what happens when you test yourself. Look, Wilder tested himself very sporadically and he got his ass beat.
Wait, recognize.
Yeah.
Recognize. Hold on. Recognize. Say test again.
Test.
Okay, because I thought you were saying test. He like Bernard Hopkins. He's gotta test himself.
No, like test.
All right. All right. I misheard you. Okay. By the way, remember
Pete, I hear you. Oh, sorry, BDA.
Yeah, Pete, we can hear the truck in the background.
Well, I was just gonna say. Well, that's what I was just gonna say, Pete. We can I can barely hear you, so I don't think everybody's interrupting you. Pete's always out on a fucking boat with the fishing pole in one hand and driving the fucking car in the other with his cell phone under his chin, trying to talk.
Johnny Boy. It's a distraction. It's he works for Sosa.
He works for Sosa. I don't know why. I mean, I imagine Pete. He's always driving. He's always on the highway. He's the midnight rider. I don't know what the fuck he's doing for a living.
I know the Florida boys. Pete's fucking Burt Reynolds, isn't he? They're always doing something. Anytime you meet somebody from Florida that's always driving, they're up to something.
Yeah.
Pete's fucking Burt Reynolds and Smokey and the Bandits. He's always on the road, isn't he?
Yeah, the fucking Mad Max over here.
Mad Max.
I was gonna say I don't think Lomachenko. I don't think Teofimo Lopez makes 135 comfortably anytime past May. Especially if they're talking about like the end of the year. He's ready for the 140-pound division.
Yeah. Look, to be fair, right, we don't even know if that fight's going to happen right now. I'm hearing boxing. I'm hearing boxing suspended till October.
I don't think so, man.
Well, and that's what Bob said, Stu, Grandpa Bob. He was like, "Dude, I'm not gonna."
Yeah, I can't remember where I read it because I was going through quite a lot.
Let me just finish. He said, bro, I'm not gonna set this big unification fucking lightweight fight while this shit's still going on. You know, once we get back to par, we can.
Well, this is it. This is why I can't understand why the Wilderettes don't just take a break for a bit, because this fight's not happening for a while, man. So they can, instead of getting wound up, just let it go for a bit.
But here's what happened, though. Here's what happened. Bob Arum, they asked him, when's the fight going to take place? He says, not till October. He's so senile. He thinks we're in August right now. That's why he said October. He doesn't realize we're in the fucking month of March. So listen, we got to
He's 87 or some shit like that.
There you go.
Yeah. All the fights are off.
These fights are off. They're not.
Yeah, everything's off for April, bro. Everything is off for April. Everything except for that one UFC fight, the Khabib and Tony. Other than that, everything's off. Everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
I heard that they want to hold that fight in the studio. Can you imagine that in the fucking studio there? They just shot a porn movie, a couple of hours earlier, and then they're holding a fight there.
Listen, BDA. Them two cats can fight in my backyard. I'll shoot the gun for the end of the round instead of the bell. Just they can fight in my backyard. I don't care, but I want to watch that shit.
By the way, I found the article that I mentioned fucking a whole bunch of episodes ago from Ring Magazine, where they talk about the history of strength and conditioning coaches throughout boxing, and I went back to that. This is just to give you an idea of what it was like to train and what they knew and didn't know about training back in the 19th century. It was when John L. Sullivan, he had a whole bunch of trouble. The guy was a wild man outside of the ring, a little bit like King Bucho, except Bucho's not a boxer. And they said a professional wrestler and physical. That's right. A professional wrestler and physical culture expert. See, they don't even call him a strength nutrition or whatever. They call him physical culture experts back then. That's how old these motherfuckers were. Muldoon was recruited by Sullivan's camp, that's John L. Sullivan, to train the debauched champion for his 1889 bout with Jake Curlane. 1889. Sullivan's manager, Jimmy Wakely, and Charlie Johnson, a New York gambler who was paying Sullivan's expenses and paid Muldoon an unheard of sum of $10,000 to keep Sullivan in line. Muldoon brought Sullivan to his farm in upstate New York, where he was going to train him. Okay, he slept in the same room. He slept in the same room with him. Sullivan and Muldoon had their disagreements. Muldoon occasionally threatened the fighter with a baseball bat or wrestled him to the ground, but the end result saw Sullivan in the best shape of his career. Sullivan stopped Kilrain in the 75th round. Unfortunately, he and Muldoon parted ways.
The what round? What round was that?
75th.
75th round.
That's right.
I just want to say something on that real fast. I want to say one thing on the 75th round with Sullivan and Jake O'Brien. There's multiple media from the time that reported different rounds, so it's somewhere between 73 and 75.
That's right, cocksucker.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous.
I just want to say this real quick. I was just going to say, listen, you got to remember, This is back in the fucking Deadwood times over here, bro. Like this homie just got out of Al Swearengen's brothel and fucking and just got done playing cards with Doc Holliday and shit over here, bro. Like that back in them days, though.
Yeah, it's true, man. That's how bad.
75 rounder. A 75 rounder is worth it.
Well, I mean, yeah, yeah, you got your money's worth.
Started in the morning and it ended at night, like midnight.
I'll tell you what, though. I mean, when you look back at some of the old, I do quite like watching some of the old. I do.
Or even ask it all shit out of John L. Sullivan.
Yeah, back in those days, those guys were not playing around, man.
Yeah, because back then they had to entertain. They were forced to do it. They had you know, they didn't want to see the sweet science. Let's just say that they wanted to see a war, and you had to go and put it on the line. And like I said, some of these guys were fighting every week. I mean, when you look at Archie Moore's record and people like that, ridiculous how many fights that guy had. You know,
to clarify, 3-minute round, 75 minutes, 75 3-minute.
Is someone talking? I can't.
No.
Yeah,
that's Pete, and he's trying to ask 75 3-minute rounds, and no, because rounds would differentiate in time. The minimum of a round back then was 3 minutes. Some rounds would be 4 minutes, 5 minutes, because they'd lose track of time.
It's a well-known fact that time was different back then. It was controlled by the white people, but then time was decolonized in 1960 after all those civil rights movement people started marching. So time was effectively decolonized and decolorized. Hey, what about Pete? You're breathing into your mic, man. What are you doing?
Yeah. Sorry.
You sounded like you sounded like the Unabomber or something, man.
But like I said earlier, BDA, it's not they only used to fight that many rounds. They used to fight outside in the heat, in southern in places like fucking Alabama and places like that. Real hot.
I wonder what Pete's
places.
really doing out there.
Yeah, and to do that, I mean, I said that takes a lot out of you as well. So it's amazing. I mean, Jack Johnson. When you look at Jack Johnson's style, Jack Johnson was a bit of he had a Kronk style before the Kronk even existed, sort of thing. It was use the jab and hold on the inside and look for the big right hand. That's what Johnson used to do. When you go back and watch Jack Johnson's fights, a lot of them were fucking horrible to watch, messy and a lot of holding. He used to wear his opponents down like Vlad used to, lean, and because he's such a big guy, he'd lean on him and hold him and get him in headlocks, and like Tyson Fury did with Wilder, and that's what Jack Johnson was doing long before the Kronk guys were doing it. Do you know what I mean? So
it was like watching Ricky Hatton cost
every generation's like without these guys that we're talking about from the early days, there wouldn't be the guys that we've got today, sort of thing. So yeah, you still got to give them their credit.
Yeah, you got to give them their credit. They were trailblazers back then, taking chances. I mean, I get it's like that's why I love the fact that I was able to witness the early years of the UFC and MMA, because it really was the Wild West. It was like watching boxing for the first time. Nobody really knew what worked. Everybody was trying to work new things out, see how they could counter a maneuver or that maneuver, that one. So boxing was the same way, man. And in fact, and I know a lot of people don't like to hear this, but if you look at some of the early MMA fights, yeah, they were entertaining back in the day because it was the novelty aspect of it. But if you remember, some of them were boring, man. Especially when these wrestlers came along, all they would do is drop a guy and then just lay on them and hump them for fucking 5 minutes. I mean, it wasn't the most entertaining thing. Same thing with boxing. You know, it's a whole bunch of clinching and wrestling. But
wrestling is one of the most effective ways to beat your opponent.
Tonight we're giving our listeners a history lesson. Right?
Are we?
We're talking about all-time greats here, and do you know, half the guys in the chat, all they want to talk about is Wilder and Fury. Fucking
I'm not gonna let
over it, guys, man.
I'm not gonna let you.
God, it's tiring, isn't it?
I'm not gonna let you.
This is coming from me. This is coming from me, though. Nobody gives a fuck about the old school shit, man. I get ragdolled all over YouTube for looking into history. But smack the like button. Everybody needs to smack the like.
Hey, I that's a problem though. That's the wrong attitude to have, isn't it? When you don't care about the old school, you know. I care about all fighters. Well, not all. I don't care about them, but I like to watch all sort of boxing from all eras. You know.
Well, this is okay. Let's go back to this. I want to go back.
There's a lot more to talk about with the old school there is today because the guys don't fight each other today, so we got fuck all to talk about.
This guy who said he sparred a whole bunch of heavyweights back in the 90s, He said he sparred Riddick Bowe too. And he says his power wasn't memorable to me. It probably got better as he got older because he never even remotely buzzed me in either of our contests. All right. Then he moves on to fucking David Tua. Tua was unpleasant. I can't see myself getting stopped by him early as he never really staggers me, but every shot hurt and he'd bang. Every other guy I ever sparred would box when I got aggressive, but David would stand his ground and give. By the way, this guy apparently, he doesn't want to say who he is, but he says he was 6'4" and about 220 pounds or 230, so he was a big heavyweight.
He was a boxer, right? He was a professional boxer. He used to spar a lot.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I take him at his word. I mean, those sparring guys, I think it's a little different when you're fighting somebody in a big stage. I've seen a lot of gym warriors think that they can do that and they fail. I'm not saying that they all do, but there's a difference between being a gym warrior and fighting in front of a crowd and professional analysts. And it fucks with your head if they think it doesn't, but it does.
Yeah, the crowd adds the crowd adds a whole different element. It's like Bas Rutten, the MMA guy. He brought up a good point. He said, imagine you're fighting. Like he would tell guys who just lost a fight, he would tell them, why are you so hung up? He says, oh, because I lost. And he would tell a lot of them, if you lost in a room where nobody saw you, would you feel this bad? And they say no. And he goes, well, there you go. It's your perception. It's because you lost in front of a whole bunch of people.
Speaking of MMA guys, real quick, Tony Ferguson's gonna knock the shit out of Khabib.
All right, I don't know what has to do with what does that have to do with the fucking conversation here. You just out of nowhere.
I'm just I'm making him bet. That's all.
Nobody wants to bet with you, Johnny. You got the numbers worked out. That's the problem. You got all the numbers on the streets. You got the inside scoop. Nobody's gonna bet against you. What's the matter?
It was Carmine who invented point shaving. BDA, we know this.
By the way, have you ever seen a shot of David Tua's legs? Look at this motherfucker.
Huge.
When you talk about power, that's where it comes from. Look at this guy's legs, man. Look at his gams, as I like to call them. Hold on a second. Look at that.
I got a good friend. I got a good friend who was built like David Tua, more or less the same height, the kind of weight, and everything. And I gotta tell you, man, those dudes, man, they just like the big calves. They can punch like that all day, and that's what makes them dangerous. Is because you gotta ask yourself, can you avoid all of them, or can you take most of those shots that are gonna come? Because it just seems like throwing a big punch, it's like they don't empty out. It's like there's not a tank for them to empty out. It's just based on their legs, and whatever shot they hit you with is gonna feel like you got hit with a brick.
Sledgehammer, yeah. Let me tell you something. If I had legs like that, I would make sure to wear Daisy Duke shorts all day, man, just to show them off, like real short fucking Daisy Dukes, and I'll be walking around.
Don't you wear them now? Don't you wear them now?
No, I don't. I don't walk around the fucking what's it called, the village over there in New York where you hang out. What's it called, man? Greenwich.
No, I don't hang out there.
You hang out.
I don't get why. I don't get why a lot of fighters don't work on the legs, because it's proven that most guys with the best chins are the ones that have very good calf muscles and big strong calves. That takes a lot of the pressure on your legs, sort of thing, when you've got big calves. So look, Hamid had massive calves for a featherweight, and he used to get hit clean on. He used to run on the shots, man. That would have knocked most people clean out. But he always used to get back up. He could take a shot. All the guys with the good legs are usually the ones that can take a shot. When you look at Wilder's legs, that's why I kept going on the Boxing Voice telling Nestor years and years ago that this guy is going to get knocked clean out, or he's going to get really badly hurt when he comes in with a puncher, because legs like that and get hit by 17 stone men. Look how quick his legs disappeared from underneath him in that Fury fight. I mean, just one couple of good shots and that was it. That's why you always got to have good legs.
You know, another
that Wilder put some more weight, right? For the second fight, he put more weight, and he put nothing on the legs.
I got a question. What do you think's bigger, the Prince's gut or his faith in Allah?
Oh, come on.
Who? Wait, what? I totally missed that. What did he say?
I said, what's bigger, the Prince's religious beliefs in Allah or his gut?
Oh, come on. See, again, he had to repeat it. He had to repeat. This is what Johnny Boy is going to hear. He's going to hear somebody knocking on his door and he's going to hear this. All right. See, that you don't want that. That's the last thing you want to hear, man.
To this day. To this day.
Oh, man.
Aiming
to
to
this
hit.
day. To this day.
That's Stu's. That's
this was gonna be outside my house. You said?
Yeah,
well, all
that's
the fanboys are gonna have a different version. It's gonna be to this day. To this day.
Oh man! All right, listen. I wanted to also talk about because you mentioned Wilder's legs. Another guy that was easy to take out, or not easy, but like you had to have guts and a good chin to do it. Tommy Hearns. He, especially 147. He had that weak leg.
Same legs, same sort of legs as Wilder. Just give up on him when big shots were landing, sort of thing. Like I said, it takes a lot of the, when you got thin legs like that, it takes one good shot and you lose them underneath you, and then it just takes. When you've got good legs, it just takes so long to get them back, and that's why a lot of these fighters just can't get them back. Hearns was all over the place, wasn't he? And
yeah,
that was the problem with Wilder. Wilder was like that from round 2, round 3 onwards, sort of thing.
Legs are foundations to the body, man. The legs are the foundation to a body. So if you lack good size to your legs, also Wilder's lazy. You gotta understand something. Wilder doesn't train like a boxer. He don't train like a boxer. Listen. I don't believe he spars. And if he does spar, he spars guys that don't really give him anything. He knows who they are. He pretty much knows the same routine. I don't think he really runs. I don't think he runs properly. He doesn't build. He hasn't built the tank because he doesn't do much in the ring. He just tries to set you up with the one shot knockout. So it's a lot of laziness from Wilder.
It just looks. He's just one of them guys that you see these memes on the internet of guys that.
Oh shit!
Sorry,
Luis looks like Pete. Floor like that. It's like Pete.
I can barely recognize. Barely fucking hear the guy.
You can boost his volume up so you can hear him properly, or maybe I can do it. Hold on.
Can I? Yeah, can you try and do it for me? Because I'm really struggling to hear recognize right now.
You can't hear me.
It helps if you turn them down.
Yeah, it helps if you.
I'm struggling, bro. I'm struggling. You're quite low, to be honest.
I heard what Pete said, man. Fuck off.
Pete said it helps.
Fuck off, Pete.
Well, listen. He made a good point. You don't have to get angry at him. What was I gonna say, man? Oh yeah, okay. So going back to this, because I don't want to fucking get into fucking Wilder. I've had enough of that. This guy keeps going about David Tua. He says every other guy I was sparred would box when I got aggressive, but David would stand his ground and give. I'd get these horrible headaches after sparring with him. And Dave told me once that whenever he knew I was on the dance card, he'd drink extra water for his brain. Nice guy. He hit like a wrecking ball. David Tua hit hard enough to knock my headgear clean around my face. But the dude had a pretty limited style.
Who is this guy?
Was that?
Who is this guy? Like just an anonymous sparring guy?
Yeah, but some of the things he says.
It's you.
Yeah, is it you, Pete? Was that the guy? Are you the guy? Are you the sparring partner?
Yeah, he knocked my headgear. He knocked my headgear or off the highway. But
yeah, you tried to pull his dick, huh? As a form of revenge, like yank it, just yank it real hard.
Come here, David Tua.
Yeah.
Hey, listen. The thing I'm saying is like, I gotta ask somebody, I guess, who's been in the sparring, but like, is it like scout team in football where they give you a style to fight based upon what the opponent's going to be? Like, I want you to do this. I want you to.
They'll get a guy that can mimic. They'll get a guy that can mimic a certain style.
Right.
Maybe preparing for the future or your next opponent. And they'll get a guy that's like who can do. Sometimes there'll be a guy who fights a certain way, but he can fight in that style. It could be because
they tell him though.
Yeah, they tell them how to do. I mean, they tell them what they want, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There's a corner man around, like in scout team in football. When you first start out, you just like running the other team's offense, and their plays, their fucking lineups, their fucking shifts, everything, and they tell you. But I'm saying,
and it doesn't mean that it's going to work. It's just
no. You're not even as good a player as them, but once in a while you'll get over on them. You know what I'm saying? Like you could tee off on a starting defensive tackle and think you're a Billy Badass, but meanwhile the guy's been in practice for 2 fucking hours. You just taking your licks. For this sparring guy to come in and say, David Tua knocked my fucking, I would have beat this guy, I would have beat that guy. Why didn't you do it then?
The fact is, you can look good. The fact is, you can look good in the combine training, but how are you gonna look in the postseason? That's what you gotta watch out for. The post. Okay, anyway, that was Radio BDA, the NFL analyst. Listen, here's the thing, man.
Everybody looks on. Sometimes people look really good on practice, like Columbine.
Oh yeah, they look pretty good. Right. yeah, they look.
Not everybody could pull off the Columbine.
What the fuck, man?
MK
What the fuck's the matter with you?
MK Ultra. MK Ultra.
Listen, all I'm saying is like, Recognize brought up wrestling before, right? So, like, the best wrestlers there have to wrestle everybody on the fucking team in a row.
Yeah.
They're exhausted by the end of it. Like, if I'm a heavyweight wrestling a 143 pounder and I kick his ass, well, what does that show? What does that say about me versus him? He'd fucking kill me if he was fresh. But it's sadistic. Coaches put him to the ringer.
Yeah, I've heard some horror stories from and football training, high school football. I mean, I've heard some horror stories from those. But I wanted to mention something about sparring. I remember when Hatton was going to fight Mayweather, and all the way to the build-up, he was saying, I'm going to stick to him like glue. I'm going to stick to him like white on rice, all these cliches. He says, Mayweather's not going to be able to keep me off him. And I remember thinking, yo, you're not fighting Corey Spinks in there. This guy can whack. And then I heard about the guys that he was sparring. You know, guys that just came out of the Olympics, amateurs. He was fighting guys who were 4-0, and he was just sparring them because they had quick hands. But I remember thinking, you know what? If I were him, I would go to John Guzman, who at that time was at his peak and who looked as close as Mayweather as anybody was going to. And I would have paid Guzman whatever he wanted. He wants a bodega in Brooklyn, give it to him. Just be my sparring partner, and that's gonna be
on the Bronx
or in the Bronx too. Yeah, there you go. But that would have helped him acclimate himself to Mayweather. But no, instead he's sparring these guys just because they got quick hands. And you saw what happened to him against Mayweather. I'm not saying it would have maybe it wouldn't have made that much of a difference. He probably still would have lost against Mayweather because Mayweather was just that much better than him. But he should have gone for the guys. When you're sparring, you got to go for a guy that is going to be able to do what the other guy does. And just going by speed or power, because that's like if you spar Brandon Rios to prepare yourself for Gennady Golovkin. It's not the same style at all. It's not the same style. But I suppose it's hard to find.
Sparring is just to sharpen up your tools, man, and give you a shot at whoever you're up against. Sparring's not going to it's not going to really make or break you. You know what I'm saying? It's just you sharpen it.
Right,
it's
thanks,
like you
thanks, Customato. Thanks, Customato. Hey, listen to
oh, you're welcome, Pete. Yeah. Anyway, I was talking, Pete. Shut up. Listen, it's just sharpening up your knives, and that's all you're doing, basically.
Listen to this. All right. So all I'm saying is, like,
I know what you're doing out there, Pete, in those cars. Okay, you think you're fooling somebody?
I almost went to the boys' club today. This state.
I'm sure the boys' club. I'm sure.
I'm telling you right now, dog. It's been an expensive day for. In trouble.
Yeah, you'll get reimbursed once everything is done.
Look at the bill this guy gave me. $1,500. He wrote me a ticket. $1,500.
Oh, are you getting a blowjob in the car? Is that what he wrote you up for?
I should have got one. I go, hey. He goes, what are you listening to? I go, it's a boxing show. You like boxing? And he's like, yeah. They call me Scalebender, you know. He's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, Scalebender. I know why they call you that too.
He cracked me, dog. He cracked me. This guy killed me, man. Anyway,
1,500.
What I'm saying is this, like, if you're a professional,
said that? My boy said that?
No.
Were you even listening to his story, man? What's the matter with you? Johnny Boy, I like how Johnny doesn't even pay attention to the story, and then he just comes in with, "No, are you talking about me?" It's like, no,
I can't fucking hear him, bro.
Johnny Boy took a couple of hits, came back.
See helicopters?
Yeah, this show's going down the drain, man.
Okay, but BDA, let me stick to it. Wouldn't you want a professional sparring, like a journeyman sparring guy that could follow instructions, mimic the opponent, what they're being instructed to do? There's like professional practice squad guys in football.
Yes.
I don't ever see the field.
Yeah.
You know,
more or less the same.
Yeah, right. I mean, all I'm saying is if a guy that's a lifelong sparring partner says, I got over on Riddick Bowe, but Tyson would have beat me, but Tua killed me.
They all would have beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, he admits it. He admits
in a boxing fight, they would have, with his millions on the line, he's not used to fighting for that kind of for that kind of stage. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's used to fighting gym wars.
He might have been
the
fourth guy the guy fought that afternoon. You know what I'm saying? Like he might have been number 4. The guy's exhausted.
I could beat up a dude in the gym war, but that doesn't mean I could beat him in a boxing fight where we're being evaluated by the world. No.
Exactly.
Well,
it happens
so there's
to
guys
every.
in the gym recognized in the gym that are like badass, like unstoppable champion. Like in the what's it called? The New York what's that one in Jackson Heights you went to? You shot the guy's dog. No,
No, there was not one in Jackson Heights.
No, the Gleason's. Like you
Oh, you mean Gleason's? Yeah.
There's a bad dude in there.
Yeah, there was some bad dudes up there, for sure.
You know, it's interesting.
A lot of guys used to go over there. A lot of those dudes that used to spar there, they were all gym warriors. Maybe had a few fights, professional fights, but most of those guys never even had a professional fight. They had amateur career experience, or they came straight from the streets and became very effective gym warriors. These are guys that will give professional boxers a workout. They'll give them a good workout, and sometimes if they're a little off, they get fucked up by these gym warriors. Yeah, it'll happen.
It's interesting because there's everybody knows when they hang around gyms where there's professional fighters and high level amateurs, there's always guys that look great on the punching bag, on the mitts, on sparring, and then once they actually get in the ring in front of people, like Recognize says, something happens to them. It's like they can't put what they did in the gym together with a good performance in the ring. I don't know if it's mental. I suspect it is, or maybe there's some sort of discipline.
You know what it is. You know what it is. BDA.
What's that?
It's all about. It's all about getting a guy used to that. You start off slow, then some guys could do it, some guys can't. They cannot do it in a almost like a friendly atmosphere where everybody's just they came here to watch you fight. In other words, right? So they can't transition that. And look, I speak from a little bit of experience because I know the difference between fighting in a gym and fighting for competition. It's a bit different, and you can get nervous, and sometimes everything just goes out the window where the other guy's calm, and you like, yo, I fought this guy in the gym. I beat him before, but he takes you into the stage of a live audience, people you don't know, and they're all watching you. They're evaluating you. You fall apart.
Yeah,
it happens in all sports.
We had a guy named Shakur Stevenson a couple of months ago. I think it was last year.
Shakur Stevenson. Yeah, I think I've heard of the kid.
I mean, no, sorry, not Shakur Stevenson. Excuse me, Shaquille Finn. He's a boxer, professional boxer here from Canada, and he actually fought. Was that?
He's a super middleweight.
Yeah, something. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And is he 168? Yeah, I think he's. Anyway, he fought a couple of times. He was undefeated, and he got a shot at the PBC. It wasn't even a televised card, but he said he froze. Just being in front of the people, knowing that it was a PBC card and that there was going to be bigger fights down the line there that night. Something happened to him. He says he froze, and he didn't get embarrassed or anything, but he just lost the fight. He says he didn't perform. He felt stuck somewhere, like in mud or something. So it can happen. Like you said, it's interesting. Who was it that fought? Somebody was sparring, and they would actually play the sound of crowds. Oh, I think it was Ricky Hatton versus Costa Zoo. I think he said he would play the sound of a crowd or something to acclimate, to get used to the atmosphere.
I think it was the other way around. I think it was Costa Zoo.
Oh, okay. There you go. Okay, yeah, thank you. But either way.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Bute also did that when he fought Carl Froch. I remember they were showing it over here, like he was training, and then they were playing like a tape of the crowd, but it was like so low. I was like, what was the point? Like, how is that going to help you at all, man? Yeah. It was so shitty. But anyways, that didn't work, as we saw.
The thing is, like I said, all fighters should want to fight in a British atmosphere. I mean, every fighter should thrive on that because, like I said, it's a bit different to anywhere else. So some fighters thrive on it, come over here and do really well, thrive on it. Like Spence, I mean, he rose to the occasion. He thrived on that, and that's what I like in world champions. When you got Crawford came over and fought Ricky Burns, which was a hostile place, he thrived on that. But Prograis himself, I thought, even though he lost the fight, I thought Prograis put in a tremendous performance, and he didn't freeze. But then again, I've seen so many freeze as well. So it's that just shows you who the real fighters are. You shouldn't let an occasion get to you, and I think that's what Joshua did. That's why when you look at Joshua, you think, well, the only time he went to America, he froze, and that's just not a good look for him. And that's.
And you know what? It happens everywhere in other parts. And everybody thinks it's so easy. Like I remember when I used to be in the industry and people would come up to me, it's like, oh, I could do it. I do it in the bedroom pretty good. I could do it in front of cameras and everything. I go, no, you couldn't. You've seen that happen with certain people. They show up and they freeze.
They get dick fright or something.
Fuck yeah, smack that ass like sucking my dick. Fucking smack.
I know these guys, they do a little 3-minute homemade video with their missus. And they think they're fucking porn stars all of a sudden.
Anyway, listen, the point is this.
It's macho time. Hey, but BDA, every time I see Boogie Nights and that colonel walks up and goes, hey, I heard you got a great big cock. I always think of BDA like in the industry.
Are you Johnny?
Hey, why does Johnny sound like he's in fucking...
Hold on, Pete. Hold on, Pete. What was it, Pete? I remind you of the colonel.
Pete, sorry, not Johnny, Pete.
Like I imagine you walking into the BDA facilities to the studio and being like, "Hey, big cock."
Oh, well, that's talking about your porn.
Yeah, I got it. Man, listen, that's the worst thing.
Like the colonel, like the figurehead.
The figurehead, yeah. Well, he was, yeah, man. I mean,
who put this thing together?
Listen, the last thing I want you to tell me is that I remind you. The last thing I want you to tell me is that I remind you of the colonel from Boogie Nights. He's got a very big, and then that creepy.
Please don't tell me you fuck. Please don't tell me your porn star name was the Mexican Monster.
The Mexican Monster. No, I got a better nickname. First of all, I was working in an ancillary position in the industry. I never actually performed. Were you nuts?
Yeah, right. You were producing.
Oh, I thought you were sitting there barebacking these fucking hoes, man.
No, are you insane? It's disgusting. I'm a Christian. I wouldn't
What
do
a
that.
job! Listen. If you get paid good money to do that, what a better job. I mean, think. Would you rather do that or sit in a cold, wet building site all day? Take your pick.
Well, you know what? Actually, gay porn, they pay more.
The thing is, though, like I said, when you got kids, you can't really do that shit. You don't want your kids putting a bit of porn on, and then you're sitting there barebacking this fucking girl, man. I mean,
why not? Why not? Why not? What's a big deal?
It's a good business. No, it's a good living, isn't it? It's a good living.
That's right. Virtuoso in the chat room says BDA's porn name was Chulo Johnson. Come on, Chulo Johnson. All right, listen, we're gonna call it quits for tonight. I wanted to get more into that poster about the guy who said he sparred all these guys, but we'll leave that up for another day. We gotta do a sec.
Where can we find that? Can we find that somewhere? I want to see that.
All right, the thread is called. Hold on. It's on SureDog. I'm sharing it with you guys on the screen here, and it's called "I Sparred with Evander Holyfield, George Foreman, Lennox Lewis, David Tua, and Others." It's from the SureDog forum, and people posted.
All right, guys, I got a confession. That's me, the anonymous.
It was Macho recognized. Macho Camacho made.
Hey, I just want to know. If that Lucretia in the chat, right, is L Dog. L Dog, really. Listen, if that's you, L Dog, right, just find a mirror, look at yourself, and have a fucking good talking to yourself. Slap yourself around the face and say, "I'm a fucking idiot."
Whenever you see these Lucretia,
what?
John Davies,
come on, man.
Those are like trolling, but yeah.
I mean, he's pretending to. L Dog's like the what is he? The Croatian from New Zealand is pretending to be Lucretia from the hood. I mean, just don't make any fucking sense to me.
Yeah, you know what? It's probably
she's my black queen.
It probably is L Dog, and I remember I was listening to a stream from Johnny Boy's stream, and the guy. He kept not banning, but timing him out. I said, "Well, why are you banning?" I asked him, "Why are you banning or timing El Dog?" And he's just fucking annoying. He just said it straight up. The guy's fucking annoying. I don't know. I've talked to him. I've spoken to El Dog a couple of times, just a couple, and he seems to be a real shit stirrer. But I don't think he's doing it maliciously, or at least I hope not. But
El Dog is quite proud to be a troll.
Yes, he takes troll.
He takes it's an art to him. It's an art.
Lucretia is my girl.
He wrote a thread on SureDog about All the people he's trolled. He goes, Stu, Little, well.
Yeah, he's fucking trolled us all, man, isn't he?
The sparring wars that he's had with all the people in the fucking boxing.
Exactly.
And I like the way he talks too, Eldor. Lucretia's my girlfriend.
Herkovich.
I mean, like I said, he tried to troll me once. He tried to troll me once, and I come back so hard. I'm surprised I'm surprised he ever woke up. The shot I landed, destroyed him.
All right, listen, we're gonna have
All
right. guys, we're gonna have to move on. By the way, shout out to Timmy Nealon, who just donated with a super chat. Shout out to Timmy Nealon, who says, salute, BDA, and chat. Well, thank you very much, Timmy. I really appreciate your contribution. Gonzalo, are you there, by the way? Gonzalo?
Yeah, I just came back, yeah.
All right. Very fortuitous here, because I wanted to ask you, Chris Bird, where are we at with the Birdman?
He said yes, but I texted him the specifics about the time and everything, and he hasn't replied. But I'm assuming yes.
Okay,
so
we'll
waiting
see.
For confirmation though.
We'll see. Worst case scenario, we'll do
fucking Hector Camacho worry, man.
Hey, Gonzalo's in there with all the fighters, isn't it?
He's the show booker, bro.
Gonzalo's getting in there with all the good fighters, man.
Hey,
and trainers. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised to see fucking Gonzalo being the new Watson twin, one of the new Watson twins, just sitting there beside the fighters doing nothing. What is their job, by the way? What is the Watson twins' job? They just sit there clapping. I got horrible feedback. Who's that coming from? You, Pete? Terrible feedback.
No, it's not. It's not coming. I hear it. I've heard it for the last.
It's BDA.
Yeah,
I'm saying we gotta fix that.
It's terrible. Yeah. I mean, I just want to ask a question. What is the job of the Watson twins? I mean, just sit there clapping like fucking seals. What else do they do? I mean, these guys get paid to stand there in the ring, man, and just clap.
Sam Watson really is the. That's who these fighters talk to face. They don't talk to. It's Sam Watson chewing gum like. Very, very. But I'll tell you this. I'm going to ask you. Who did Gonzalo book one time? Soto Carras? Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a good guest. But we should have some of these guys on post-fight. What about post-fight to get their take on?
The thing is, a lot of the fighters these days, so their egos are so big. We're not worthy for them. They give a list of who can have interviews, and the rest they won't give them to. Like small channels, they won't bother with now these days. And like I said, there's so many media channels, especially YouTube channels. These fighters, I mean, like they're spending all day on media tours and stuff, all day just talking the same stuff, answering the same questions. So it gets a bit tiring to these fighters. So when people like us, true boxing fans, want to speak to them, we're not really getting the chance because these fucking clowns that are pretending to be into boxing and just, they get, because they've got a media pass, they're getting to ask these questions. So that's basically it.
I don't care about current fighters. I like Soto Carras because he kept it real.
Yeah, but like I said, it's like with all fighters, Soto Carras is another one. I mean, like I said, he's probably got so many people want to interview him. It's just hard to get. Like I said, look how many channels there are now.
I love when they do this fucking.
Calm down, Pete. Fuck, so you're always pulling faces, Pete. Well, then calm down, man.
Take a chill pill.
I mean, you're like a big baby, you are, man. Big, strong man like you. You're always whining, pulling faces. What's wrong with you, man? Can't I have an opinion? And I've seen it for a while now. I've seen you pulling faces and think condescending to me as well. Like, if you want to be a dick, I thought you was all right. If you want to be a dick with me, then you go your way and I'll go mine. We won't talk about boxing. Sick of looking at your face.
Stu, what the fuck are you? I'm sitting in a truck stop, man. Sitting here, I'm just looking around. I'm like,
but you take things serious. You take things offensively when I'm being all right with you as well. Even when I'm being all right with you, take things offensively, and I've noticed it for a while now. I've kept quiet and keeping quiet tonight. You don't like me being it. Don't talk. Don't come on here when I'm on it. Simple as that. If you don't like it, if you can't take listening to my opinion, then don't fucking come on. Wait till I've gone off and then come on, or we'll make a deal. I'll come off and you can stay on for a bit.
You're off base. You don't know. You got something twisted up.
I know what I see, mate. I know what I see. I know what I see, man. Always pulling fucking faces every time I say something that you don't like.
I'm agreeing with you. Why the fuck would I I'm not even disagreeing with you right now.
Well, that's not how I see it. That's not how I see it. Sorry, Pete. I'm sorry. I've been all right with you, Pete, all the time. I classed you as a mate, but I've been seeing it for a while now. I'm not stupid. Just like when I saw it was Stott when he was doing it. I'm a fucking, I'm a wise guy. I see when people being friendly with me, and you've been like that for a while now. So
listen,
I thought I'd just tell you now.
I'll tell you if I fucking disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. I'm agreeing with you. I don't know what you're looking at. You're looking at me looking off. I'm looking off like 1,000 yards into this interstate, contemplating whether I'm going to get back on the road and risk it. That's all. I'm not responding to what you're saying. I'm agreeing with you. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Relax.
He looks like a little bit like Sean Penn in the movie Jeopardy, Stuart. He's kind of hard to read. Michael Douglas's brother. The movie, the game, not just.
Oh, that was a good movie. Yeah.
I'm gonna a show a while ago. A show a while ago.
I'm gonna beat up a black.
No.
Yeah, I just know what I see. There was a show a little while back where everything I said, fucking Pete disagreed with for the sake of it. And even one of the fucking listeners pointed it out in the comment section, and I laughed it off. But I've seen it a while now, man. Like I said, you just don't like my opinion. That's fine, but I don't sit here when you're talking boxing. I never sit here laughing, pulling funny faces, getting all mad and stuff. I don't do that. I respect everyone's opinion. So respect mine. That's what I'm saying, man.
I do, brother. I do. I don't like the way you're acting right now, but yeah, I respect you.
Yeah, I apologise as well, Pete. I'm not trying to fucking be funny with you, bro, but I've seen it. It's just been a while now. I've been seeing you keep pulling faces. It's my opinion. I'm not going to change it for you. I don't change my opinion for nobody. If you don't like what I hear,
let's wait till we disagree. Let's wait till we disagree about something, and then we can argue. Look, there's nothing to argue. I'm even disagreeing with you.
Well, I must be seeing things then.
Hey, Stu, I tell you, if I disagree, we're talking about booking guests on the show.
And I said, right?
Hold on, Stu. I don't know. I don't know what the disagreement is because I can't fucking hear Pete to begin with. So I don't.
I had an auntie that used to make faces kind of like she had Tourette's, and we used to.
Oh, wait a minute! I like Gonzalo. I like how Gonzalo tries to diffuse the situation. I had an aunt that was retarded, and she used to make faces.
You like Sean Penn?
Sean Penn from I Am Sam. Listen, hold on a second before we continue.
From Colors.
Jason Bourne.
Jason Bourne, man. Jason Bourne. I mean, this guy just fucking.
Well, let me read it. Come on.
He yearns my attention, Jason Bourne. He gets up in the morning. He's got his wife next to him, and he's thinking of me straight away. This guy, every time I look in the comment section, he's talking about me. I'm a paranoid geezer. Damn right I am. When I'm around people like you, Jason Bourne, I wouldn't trust you as far as I could throw you. A rat. I know a fucking rat when I see one. You're like the Polish Sammy the Bull Gravano. Get out.
Oh, now wait a minute. I'm not gonna let you downgrade or call our listeners that way. Hold on. Please. Let me finish here, please. Jason Bourne donated the super chat. I gotta read it because he paid for it. He says Stu needs to shut his mouth sometimes and let somebody else speak already. All right, so that's why.
I'll tell you what. I've got to talk more.
Can I say one thing?
Let me tell you, I don't care for your little bit of your donations as well. You can stick them where the sun don't shine. In the day, you're not going to fucking check. I'm not here to fucking prostitute for your little donations. Look, you're just mad because your fucking fighters have been getting whooped left, right, and centre. You've been taken out of me. Not my problem. Like I told you years ago, you can't box for shit. You're tough old guys. I'll give you that. Like I said, you can take a good whack and you take a good hiding. We'll leave it there. But you've always talking about me, Jason. I mean, you're obsessed, brother. I mean, your wife must hate me if she don't even know me.
Hey, I got a question. I got a question. Where was this 2 hours ago when fucking Recognize was yawning when I was trying to talk about who's Chavez? Where was this 2, huh? You only get worked up at the end of the fucking show. You gotta get worked up in the middle, man. What's the matter with you?
Yeah, no, but like I said, man, fucking
get with the program. The program.
Let me just say one thing.
I'm disagreeing with Pete, right? I'm disagreeing with Pete, and I've told Pete what I think, but I still like Pete. It's not like I just don't like Jason Bourne. He's a fucking idiot.
Can I say one thing? Can I say one thing?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
All right. I just was gonna say, Jason, you're my boy, bro. You're not Sammy the Bull. Don't worry about it. You're good people. You're fucking. You're that.
No, he's Whitey Bulger. He's fucking Whitey Bulger. That's who he is. Rat.
Fucking Johnny Boy turns into John Kennedy Jr. every time you interrupt and you say, "Let me say something. Let me say something." Hey,
it's because I've been trying to speak for 15 minutes. Now I forgot my fucking point, dog.
Oh.
Write it down.
Write it down. Yeah, that's a good fucking idea. Write it down.
I ain't even got a pen.
You don't have a pen. This show is a disaster, man.
I think I smoked all the ink out of all of them. No, I'm just playing. But I'm just playing. But Pete, Stu, and Jason, I love the three of you. Now shut the fuck up. Go ahead.
Hey, Stu, you
sorry, Johnny, man. I mean, like I said, I don't like being like this. I don't like being like this. But fucking Jason Bourne really fucking he riles me up. Just seeing his name in the chat.
I just think it's Jason's always on my streams and shit. He don't say nothing about
yeah, I mean, he's like the fucking Bisto kid, isn't he? He's like the Bisto kid. You know when the Bisto kid smells a bit of gravy, he follows the smell. He's like, he sees a notification come up about boxing. He's there like the fucking Bisto kid.
No. What I was gonna say was he's cool on my streams, but the whole little rivalry between the two of you is just fucking hysterical to me, man. It's too funny.
Well, listen. We were gonna go before this whole thing.
Hold on one time, because I just stepped up in this motherfucker.
Oh god!
All right, we're gonna go. Good night now. Okay,
there we go. Fucking Jesus of Nazareth is here.
Yeah, Bisto Stew, some dusty old fucking gravy company. Showing your age, bub. I saw you taking little pops at me in the chat yesterday.
Well, yeah, damn right I did. You was rambling on about a load of bollocks.
Load of bollocks. There's nothing to talk about but bollocks.
I mean, you fucking getting in all. I mean, like, you was losing me. That's my point. But like, I like you, Revolution. I'm not gonna get into you, but yeah, fucking. I know what the fuck you was talking about.
Piece of shit. All right.
Fat
so I
piece
bring
of
up
shit.
the table sometimes. I mean, you see that neck tattoo on Andy Ruiz? Jesus Christ!
Fucking nauseating.
Speaking of yesterday's stream, so you still sleeping in the woods with Ricardo Mayorga and fucking Mike Tyson? Revolution? Is that the game plan?
No, it's Carlos Mayorga.
Carlos. Who the fuck is that guy?
Saying Carlos Mayorga.
Carlos Mayorga. Who is that? His brother?
That was a good subject matter, though. Right at the end of the show, I had.
Well, it was because like I say, as far as yesterday goes, I didn't feel like talking about Wilder and Fury for the 487th fucking time either.
No, ain't gonna milk it though. I understand.
Hey,
no, you gotta milk it. You gotta suck that titty once in a while and just fucking rub the little bumps with your tongue and then
Hey, let me ask you a question.
All up on the Chris Ariel.
Did you mention that if we watch older fights, I don't know, a certain time period, that there's no problem, copyright, no problem?
No, that has nothing to. That time has nothing to. You could do it at midnight. You could do it at fucking 9 in the morning. They're gonna fucking.
Not the time of day. If we watch Trinidad Vargas, we can't watch. I mean, that's not fair use right now.
I don't know what. That's
hey,
why
well, you know what? I got a little outlaw mud show channel, Revolution 04, where I do that shit, and I don't give a fuck, and I don't monetize my shit. So we watch old fights there. So you can come watch it over here.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie. Yes, we're near the In-N-Out Burger.
I'm just saying. All I'm saying is, if there's no fucking boxing, there's no boxing period. You should sit back and watch a classic.
Yeah, I just watched that one, Pete. Trinidad versus Vargas, man, that was a great fight.
That's not a classic. That's from 2002.
Well, that's 2000 first of all, and it is a fucking classic. It doesn't matter if it was 2 years ago or 25 years ago. It's a classic.
Classics is
20 is a long time ago now.
20 years.
20 is a long time ago now.
Yeah, were you even born 20 years ago, Johnny Boy? Were you even born 20 years ago?
I'm not watching no fucking
projector. You guys know I'm 15. It's okay. I'm still trying to get my willy sucked in high school over here, bro. So
it's like vehicles. After 20 years, they're classics.
Yeah,
I'll set up a phone projector.
I suppose. I'm
just saying, like, that's a badass fight.
I can't wait to go to prom and sell drugs to all the kids coming out of prom.
But what about instant classics?
You ever had instant mashed potatoes?
All right, listen. I'm gonna cut.
If you do them right, dog, they're not bad.
I'm cutting this at the butt.
Let me tell you something.
Oh wait, I think I know where this is going.
Instant mashed potatoes. There's no such thing as an instant classic. Either it's good or it ain't. That's it.
Shut up! I'm cutting this at the butt, man. I'm chopping it up. That's over. We're supposed to end this shit half an hour ago, and then Stu and Pete went at it. We gotta end it.
Stu didn't go at it.
All right.
We didn't. No, we didn't go. I just said what. Listen, I've wanted to say this for a while, right? It's no hard feelings. I forgot about it now, but I wanted to say it because I was seeing these things. I'm not a fucking stupid guy, man. I work people out. I told you. Did I tell you Michael Stott? Well, did I tell you Michael Stott was a fucking lunatic, a freak? I told you.
Wait a minute.
I told you that. It took you guys 3 or 4 months to realise this guy was possessed by a demon. I told you he's possessed by a demon. You didn't fucking believe it. Right?
Oh man!
I told you this guy was a bit of Semtex away from exploding on someone. I told you this sort of thing.
Stu on some Jesuit shit. Yeah. He's possessed by demons.
Hey, look.
Yeah, like I said, look, I just knew. Look, but I'm not trying to compare Pete with Stott. I'm not. But I'm just saying. I see certain things. I thought Pete was. It got to the stage where he just disagreeing with everything I said just for the sake of it, and I want to know why he was doing that. That's all it was.
Hey, look,
we gotta be. I don't know if you just pull faces. Maybe that's just you. You just pull faces all the time. I don't know, but
yeah, I do.
Every time I had a
it depends on what's going on in real life. You know, I just.
But to be fair, Pete's always got his camera on, so it's easy to see his.
Yeah, this is it, mate. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I've got eyes; they work. I can see him pulling faces. Yeah.
Yeah, but if we all had a camera, you can see the faces we all make.
Yeah, if you had a camera, Stu, you might be making faces you don't know about. We might see some
you remind me of Gonzalo's Tourette's. You know
that? His what? His Tourette's aunt.
Yeah, he had Tourette's. Sometimes she sparks. But
Butcher, go ahead, man.
If I disagree with you, I would say so. I'm not.
Yeah, and I respect that, Pete. And like I said, I don't ever sit here when I don't agree with you. I've never sit here and pulled face and thought, "What the fuck's Pete talking about?" It's just not me because I respect other people's opinions, and I just don't think you respect mine. That's how I see it. If that's not the case, then I apologise. Like I said, I'm not here to argue with you. You're a good old guy. You're a nice guy, as it seems, but I didn't like that, and that's why I spotted it a while ago, and I thought I'd say something.
All right, Butcho, get in there.
Hey guys, yeah, Leticia is gone, and now El Dog is in the chat. Yeah.
El Dog, how you doing there?
El Dog, go.
Obviously, you need a history lesson.
Yeah, I think we all know
it's funny. People in New Zealand, man, when they say can't, they say cunt, and when they say deck, they say dick. So they just be cunt sit on the dick all day.
Hey, by the way, Johnny Boy says he's having a show afterwards, so go check him out. Tomorrow, we're gonna see. What are you laughing for?
Because El Dog says T-Tone Toledo is a mod on Blue Blood's channel. Johnny Boy.
All right, listen. I don't quite get it, but the point is this, man.
No, because Blue Blood is a LDBC guy.
Oh, okay. Guy. All right, listen. Fucking Johnny Boy's gonna have a fucking video after this, so go check it out. Also, don't forget, if we get Chris Bird tomorrow, that's probably gonna be at about 8 p.m. courtesy of Gonzalo or Booker Extraordinaire. He gets all the big names. Also, if we don't do it tomorrow, a show, let's say Chris Bird says, "Oh, I can do it on Wednesday." Pretty sure on Thursday we're gonna do a second Renaissance. We're gonna do a fun second Renaissance. We'll talk about whatever we gotta talk about. I know people sometimes go, you don't talk about this if you don't get any proof. Listen, we'll talk about whatever the fuck we want, all right? So it's all for entertainment purposes. That's the point of the second Renaissance. So guys, thank you for joining us. I want to give a shout out to on Rival Boxing Talk, Stu, Pete, Revolucion, King Bucho, Recognize the Matrix, Johnny, Gonzalo.
Good shit, boys.
Thank you. And of course, I got to toot my own horn for my skills
Colonel,
here.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. Absolutely. And I want to thank everybody who joined us today, too, as well. Tito Toledo, Ralph Unreal. But hold on a second. Before I do that, I forgot to thank everybody who donated with the super chat. Chris K, Virtuoso, Timmy Nealon, Jason Bourne. And was there somebody, who was the last one, Bucho, who donated? Was it somebody else?
It's the guy that Stu was yelling.
Yeah, Jason Bourne. Okay, yeah, it was Jason Bourne. Okay, thanks. Yeah, Jason Bourne. Thank you guys for joining us. We're going to catch you on the next one. Yes.
I say, yo, Bucho, I'm about not Bucho, BDA. I'm finna after the show hit you up about a couple recipes I want to ask you about, man. I need some advice, so I'll talk to you, dog.
I don't know shit about recipes. What are you talking about?
I need a couple ideas, man. I'm running out of recipes here in the quarantine. I got a whole bunch of beans and a whole bunch of rice. You gotta help me with this shit.
Oh, no, that's recognized. He's gotta help you out. Rice and beans, man. He's a Puerto Rican.
Okay, it's more of them. All right, cool.
Yeah,
I'll hit him up.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll love it, man. All right, take it easy. Be healthy. Yeah, you too, man. You too. And don't forget again, we're gonna do a second Renaissance episode one of these days, probably Thursday, most definitely Thursday. Also, what else? Oh yeah, so let me give a shout out to again everybody who joined us on the Discord. Thank you guys for joining us. Give a shout out to SSB28, Chris Gonzalez, Lobito, aka Gonzalo, T-Tone, The Bronze Plumber, Skull Crusher, Amok PvP, SSB28. Hold on a second, I gotta move back here. El Dog, Saint Brit, Dirt and Boxing, Ralph Unreal, Chats for the Gallery, Amok PvP, Hitter, some weird ass name, Kidderman stuff, Timmy Nealon, Ralph Unreal. Listen, many more people, man. If Grievous was here as well, shout out to Grievous, Dead Game Boxing. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll catch you on the next one. Take it easy. Enjoy, hit the like button, and then enjoy the rest of your night. Take it easy, folks. Where's the fucking main team here? There we go.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. Just, I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in everyone. Totally disappointed in everyone.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it no more.
I'm disappointed in everyone.
Then let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
He's just killed a little fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
You're happy because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're happy because you got nothing. Lobito! Got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA Boxing.